Check, 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 check. Check 1, 2. All right, all right. Let's get that count out the screen. Double checking. I think this cable is a bit messed up. Once it's in and it's okay. So we should be good. What's going on? It's your boy DJ TLM broadcasting live from Amsterdam. This is Share the Knowledge Live. Set this to Do Not Disturb. This is my weekly Q&A show for DJs where we talk about everything DJ related. You can ask me anything DJ related. Salute to DJ Waves, DJ Lush, Jesse Monroe. Monroe, why did I say Monroe? I know it's not Monroe. It's Manuri, right? JM is here. Who else is here? LB, C Boogie, what's going on? OPL, what's going on? Salute to all of you in the chat on Twitch and on YouTube right now. And Facebook should be joining us as well. Mixcloud is live. I'll check to see if they're dropping comments there. And Twitter, but I can't see the Twitter comments here either. So I'll mostly be rocking with you right now on Twitch and on YouTube. Curtis is in the building. What's up? And we got Vest in the building. And OPL, I appreciate that. Thank you. This you'll probably see a lot more of this setup, me just sitting here. I've been doing a lot of rearranging in the studio, changing setups, and yeah, I think it should be okay. Only thing is I don't have my headphones now. I'm used to having my headphones on to monitor. Let me just check if they can reach over here. I do prefer to hear myself in the headphones. Rich, I see you. Salute to you. Let me just check the headphones and then we'll get into the questions. Yes. Hold up. Oh, yes. Oh, easily. Oh, this is so much better. This makes me feel like I'm part of it. Now, there will be some background noise. I'll have one fan running. Yeah, I'm going to leave that on because otherwise it's just too hot in here. Let me just... turn it down a notch. I need some air in here. I mean, it's starting to feel a little bit like summer. The weather is definitely heating up over here. For the last couple of days, it's been like an oven here in the studio. So I have to have that on. It might not even be that bad on the stream. Pipes was good. Earl Whiff, salute to you. So let me just start with that first question. So once again, if you're joining now, welcome to Share the Knowledge Live, my Q&A show for DJs. We talk about anything DJ related. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. If I don't answer you within the first 15 minutes, drop your question again. I mean, I'm going to go according to the chat, and it can take some time to answer a question. In the meantime, a lot of new questions may come in. If you've been here before, you know how that goes. And yes, this is my first time actually doing the stream like this. So normally I'd be sitting at the desk there, the studio desk. I kind of prefer this. Got some new lighting going on. I did my stream 2 days ago also from basically this position. Just moved the table back a little bit more. And I'm feeling it. I'll continue to experiment, but this is probably going to be one of the steady setups. Sometimes I'll even hook up the equipment so when we're doing a Q&A, I'll be able to also show examples. Can't do that today, but that is something I've been thinking about. Sometimes, so the first question, for instance, can you show a couple of ideas for big BPM changes in hip-hop Today I can't. And that's something I want to change, so that when we're doing this Q&A and I get a question like this, and it just makes more sense for me to actually show you instead of explaining, it will be so great to just be able to show you. It's not hooked up now. I don't have time to do that now either, but keep in mind that is something I will do. If I'm continuing to use this setup, it's going to be pretty easy once I have it hooked up, and I think it'll add some extra value just to be able to show some things instead of talking. Talking is cool, but for some things you need more than talking. Now, if we're talking about big BPM changes, some of the usual suspects would be using an effect. Because if you're dealing with a huge BPM difference, mixing most likely is not an option. If you're playing a track that's 80 BPM, you're going to go to a track that's 140. I mean, wrong example. Let me say you're playing a track that's 95 and you want to go to 140. That makes more sense. You're not going to mix. You're not going to adjust the tempo and try to beat match. That's not going to work. I mean, you could hit sync and make them actually sync. It's not going to be a good look if you change the BPM that much. An effect can help you out. So, for instance, just stopping one track with some sort of echo or crazy loud reverb and then just bringing in a new tune will make more sense than trying to mix tracks like that. My best advice, first off, is when you do a big BPM change is to make sure that the track that you're bringing in is something that you know the crowd will react to positively. So a hit, something they'll recognize, because that's going to make your life a lot easier. If you switch BPMs and you do some type of crazy echo and you spin it out and then you bring in something new and it's not really hitting them, yeah, then they're going to be kind of double shocked. You don't want that. You don't want to have a tempo shock and them not feeling the track. But if you're playing a hit, they're not going to care about the BPM difference. Now, there's other things you could do. You could, for instance, have a 95 track playing, and if you have a mixer or a controller that would allow you to change the BPM of the effect, then you could, for instance, set an echo or what's the other one? A roll effect in the BPM of the new song. So I have a 95 track, but I'm going to hit roll at 140 or the echo at 140 and let it echo. Make sure the echo continues for quite a while. The echo at first might sound a bit strange, but when you bring that new track in at 140 and it goes over the echo, it starts to make sense. Now, this is something we should not be talking about but showing. So I will do an example either in an upcoming stream or maybe do a video about it. How to deal with needle skipping in clubs because of bass vibration. Great question. I played with needles just the other day during my vinyl episode last week, and I did a little TV thing yesterday, and I used real vinyl. It was only a scratch part, so I didn't have to like mix. But even then, when I was like sound checking, I had a little skip issue. There's a lot of different things that could be going on, though. Now, if you're for sure that it's because of the bass vibrations, then they need to either make the stage that you're on heavier. I've had a lot of clubs in the past when we used to still play with turntables with vinyl. In certain clubs, they would actually like bring in like big bricks and like really put like a ton of stones on the booth to make it heavier and withstand some of the vibrations. Sometimes they would use, and I hate them, but they would use the free floats. I don't know if you've ever seen those. They're like these inflatable things you place underneath your turntables. They'll help with the vibrations, but if you want to also scratch and do little tricks, it's horrible. It's horrible because you no longer have your turntable on like a steady surface. It's basically like placing it on an inflatable bed or something. It's going to move up and down. Now, if you're just DJing, it will actually stop some of the vibrations, but I don't like it. So I would not go for that. You could make your needle heavier. That might work. So for instance, you might want to put something on top of it. In the past, we used to put like coins on top of the head shell to make them heavier. But in some cases, it's just gonna nothing is really going to work. For instance, I remember when we used to have like these carnival like parades where you would have like trucks going through the city, and sometimes you would have like DJs on one of the trucks playing. Now, if it's like a bumpy road, nothing's going to save that needle from skipping and flying all around. That's one of those cases where I'd rather be playing like with CDJs or use phase or something like that. But if you know for sure it's the vibration, those are some of the things you can look at. Now, also, you want to make sure that and even though this is not vinyl, but there's a hole in here, you want to make sure that the hole is not too big, because if it's too big, then you're also going to have sideways friction. So anytime you touch it, there's too much room in the middle. And if it moves too much side to side, that could also make the needle skip. So there's a lot of different things you can try to do to prevent skipping as much as possible. But if you're playing with real vinyl and needles, there's no foolproof method to stop skipping. Let's see. Oh, Vest, what are you talking about with no hamburger? And Vest, the show with Brainpower is this weekend. We have 2 shows this weekend. So we were on tour. We were in the middle of a tour in October. October was basically the first time that we had some gigs. This was a tour that was planned way in advance. Everything got locked down. During that time, things opened up here a little bit, so we were able to do some shows. Then all venues shut down again. And now, in June, we finally get to finish that tour. So we have shows this Friday and Saturday, and then again next weekend or the weekend after that. So looking forward to that. At the same time, it is kind of a weird experience because we were in the middle of a tour. Now you're like beyond 6 months further, and now you're going to finish that same tour. And it's not like we had a chance to really, like normally you do a tour, you get into a rhythm, and we kind of got into a rhythm, and all of a sudden you're out of it. And now we're basically starting cold again. So it's gonna take some getting used to the first show, maybe first 2 shows, but yeah, looking forward to that. Let's see. Earl says, buzzing to tell you got my first turntables. Hey, there we go. So questions will be flowing. Congrats. You're gonna have a lot of fun with that. Smydro in the building. Salute to you. Ill Connect. What's going on? Alles goed? JM, I don't know if I shouted you out yet, but shout you out right now. OPL says, I guess you is missing there. Have you done any streaming paid performances gigs? It's locked down and I'm working on setting up my studio for this purpose so that I can DJ to parties live. So I haven't done that. I've seen DJs do it, and it's something that is possibly a way to monetize. I would say you will need to have an audience. So if you're going to just start out of the blue with streams and you're asking for fees, if you don't already have a fan base, it might be hard to find people who actually want to pay for that. But it is something that I've seen happen. I also see some DJs who stream and then they'll have like their replays on a website behind a paywall. So those are options. So for instance, I've been thinking about maybe when things start to open up again, I am planning to do streams when I DJ. Now, maybe not for the Brainpower shows, the live shows, or maybe just snippets, but when I have a DJ gig, I plan to do streams, and I might think about like opening that up to making it like an online event. So if people from around the world want to see me DJ, then they can watch me DJ in a club here, and I'll stream it and ask a fee for that. But I'm even still not sure about that, and I might just even do some just for free first. But that's an option. But I mean, I don't even know if I feel I'm ready to do that. You want to make sure you have an audience, like you have a lot of people you know are going to be willing to pay for that. Wave says, should I get new music ASAP? For example, if a new song or album comes out from an artist, should I get it right away or wait to see what songs are most popular and get them only? In my opinion, you should get the music you want to play. Now, of course, it makes sense. Like if you want to play a lot of gigs, you're going to need popular songs. If you play a lot of different genres, you're going to need popular songs from those genres. I mean, that's a good thing. So you should be in tune with what is popular. But if an artist comes out with a new song or a new album, I listen to the album. If I hear songs that are dope, I'm going to add them to a playlist, or if I want to, I could buy them, but I'm going to make sure I have them somewhere. And I'm not going to check an album, see that an album is out, and then wait to see what becomes popular. I'm a music lover first, so I'm going to hear if there's something on there that I feel is dope. Now, of course, if there's a hit on that album, I might want to have that hit too. But what if there's another song on that album that I actually think is way doper, and I want to make sure I get to push that song as well? So you should always be using just your own ear, your own flavor to see like, hey, what's dope? If all DJs would just sit around and wait to see which songs are popular and then start playing those songs, yeah, I don't think that's what DJing is about. But, of course, let me just say that again. If you're playing a lot of parties, especially like commercial parties, they're probably going to expect you to have the current hits. DJ Flex, what's good? Leonardo Torres, salute to you all the way from Mexico. Mulberry, I appreciate that support. Subscribed 8 months in a row. That's some VIP level stuff right there. Appreciate you, man. Chris on the mix is here. Greetings to you. And yeah, Jesse, those inflatable things. Like I remember, I was playing. We were doing a festival. I was doing a show with Brainpower years ago. A guy came up to me backstage, and this guy was the inventor of the free floats. I think that's what they were called, free floats, something like that. And he came up to me to introduce himself and tell me about his new product. And he wanted to give me them there to use right then and there. And I was like, I'm willing to check them out, but I'm not going to use them now. This was like a big festival. We have a show prepared. I'm not going to change my setup before the show to try something, which I don't know if it's going to work. And I'm glad I didn't do it, because the first time after that, when I did try, I'm like, place the turntable on top. I just put my hand on the platter and did this, and the entire turntable just started to do this like dance. I'm like, okay, this is not going to work for me. Not at all. Now, one trick, you can deflate them like partially. Let's say take like 50% of the air out. That way they will still stop some vibrations, but the turntables do have a little bit more steadiness to them. That is one thing you can do with the floaty, the inflatable things. OPL says, have you... Oh, we already had that one. Wait, it repeated the question. Okay, that's crazy. Or OPL was really fast with reposting the question. That's also possible. Jody127 was good. Is beat source purpose a complement to a DJ's music on a hard drive, or can it stand alone in a typical gig? It can stand alone for sure. Now, I'm the first to say that I always want to have music on my computer. If I'm going to DJ somewhere and I'm using a digital system with a laptop, why would you not have music on the laptop? So for me, it's an extra, but I could like have an entire like collection ready to play the entire night just from beat source. But in the back of my mind, I know if anything happens, I will also have some music on the computer, just in case. Now, I do have the top tier subscription, so that means I can have 100 tracks in the offline locker. So if the internet goes out, I could still have 100 tracks on beat source that I can use in the DJ software. But I mean, come on. We all have music right now. Even if we start to use the streaming services as our main thing, Why would you not have at least a couple of folders on the computer, just to be sure? So yeah, you can. I mean, I do my my live streams. My last couple of live streams, except for the all vinyl edition, I used BeatSource. One time I used BeatSource and Tidal, but like the one on Monday was the BeatSource edition. That entire stream was just BeatSource. I could have played hours longer. I mean, there's no lack of music, so you could play entire nights, weeks with just BeatSource. Ken Ark was good. Ken Ark wants to know, do you color code your cue points? No. It's something I thought about, but I haven't found a system that will work for me. But I think it can be a valuable tool. I think it's more valuable when you really do a lot of like tricks, or you're used to doing a lot of different things. Like you said, like red for the start or the first beat, blue for a chorus. Yes, I mean, it's a good thing. But so you don't use your headphones most of the times. I don't see that really corresponding, because I'll use the headphones to beat match. After that, I'm not using my headphones anyway. You could do the color coding. You could also name them in some software. But yes, I can see the advantage of coloring, but I just haven't found the time to figure out like a system. Like, okay, how would I color them, and what would I want to color code? So Vest, the picture you saw a couple of days ago, those pictures were pictures. Oh no, it was one picture. That was a picture, and I think that was either the roasted pork belly or a lamb. And I posted one a day, and that was like a breakfast bun, scrambled eggs, salmon, avocado. That's from actually around the corner from the studio, from a place called Mr. Mokum, and they have the Mokum munchies, and they got some goodness in there. So yeah, but it wasn't a burger. But I know what you mean now. Art of PHN, what up, what up? Good to see you. When freestyle scratching, do you find yourself using your entire library of techniques, or do you fall back on a handful of simple / old reliables? Yes. No, I mean, yes, I do find myself to fall back, not particularly to say on simple scratches, but I just do have a lot of go-to scratches. If I'm doing freestyle scratching, it's not like I'm trying to think like, okay, I've done this and that and that. Let me now add that and that and that technique. I'm just going. And sometimes that could be super basic. Sometimes it could involve more different patterns, more combos. But I do fall back on a lot of the stuff that I do a lot. That's why I want to expand and learn more techniques so I can do more. But it's not like I'm thinking about it. It's so freestyle that it really just flows out, and anything that happens will happen. DJ Wasaza. DJ Wasaza, what's good? DJ Wasaza wants to know, what's the difference between the Mark 1 scratch vinyl and Mark 2 scratch vinyl? Are you talking about the Serato or scratch vinyl? Probably. Let me know. I think that's what you're talking about. I think they just improved the time code signal. I'm actually not sure. I know they came out with newer versions. I think that's what it is. It's been a while, though. If you're talking about the Serato vinyl, I think they've been on Mark II for quite some time now. Adam Steen, all good over here. DJ Chargé, I would think, is starting with 26 as a hip-hop DJ too old. No. It is not too old. I want to say it's never too old, but 26 is definitely not too old. No, not at all. So go for it. Go for it all the way. Earl wants to know, or wants to say, oh, you got the Numark TT2 Pro and a bag full of funky house late 90s to 2003. Getting used to the real feel of the turntable with slowing and speeding up. Question, are there different grades of slip mats? Yeah, you got all sorts of slip mats. I never really got into like the different kinds. I always had different slip mats. I found a pair of slip mats I liked, used it for a couple of years. Then I got my hands on a new pair, either bought it or got it as a gift, used that pair. Now, you have them in different thickness. Like for instance, the ones I have on here now, these were a gift. Amoeba Records. These are really, really thin. And I actually think, in my opinion, I think they're a little bit too thin. Like I could sometimes, like, it sounded like I could hear the platter going up against the metal underneath the slip mat. It feels that thin. You definitely don't want it to be too thick. But beyond that, I mean, for me, there's no science to it. I put them on. If I can move them around and they feel okay, I'm good to go. I've had some Technic slip mats. I've had some, I think, Carhartt slip mats. I've had some slip mats with I Love Hip Hop. A lot of them were like no particular brand either. I never really paid attention. I just went for the feeling. But yes, there are different grades, but I couldn't tell you like this is the one you want to have. I have to move in. The colored names are horrible to read when I'm looking in the chat app. So I think that's Roger. Roger was good. Like, your name is in blue. It is crazy hard to read from here, on this device at least. Is that really you? Oh, it is. And underneath it, like for instance, underneath that is Mixmaster G. From this distance on this tablet, I can hardly see the difference between Roger A. Martin and Mixmaster G. Now, of course, I can look at the avatar. That's different. But looking at the blue names, and your names are about the same length, it's almost impossible to see. But Mixmaster G, salute to you as well. DJ Breeze is in the building. Salute, salute, salute. Good to see you. And who else? Big Set is here. H-Town in the building. And yeah, Mixmaster G knows we got beautiful weather here right now. Yes. It is like it's been hot for a week and a half now, and it's not done yet either. Let's see. Is it possible to get audio output only via USB on the DJ MS11 directly via USB into the streaming PC without Kinch or interface? I haven't done that. Let me think. I do believe there's a way to do that. I think you can actually. Oh, I don't even have to go there. By the way, that question came from Real Kev, as far as I can see. Oh no, that's Rilke, Thunder Chef, I guess. Mixmaster G already answered, so I'm just gonna piggyback off that. He says, yes, you can, but you need to set up the Pioneer utility software to set the master to channel 1.2 to be picked up by OBS. I've noticed some weird audio artifacts when using the 9 of the Nexus over USB. I prefer a separate USB audio box. Like, I think you're going to get the best result by using a separate box or by using Kinch, but I do believe it's possible to just use the USB for that. DJ Wasasa was talking about Tractor Scratch vinyl. If it's Tractor Scratch vinyl, I'm actually not sure what the difference would be. I assume it's the same thing. Like, they probably just improved the timecode signal that's on the vinyl. Maybe there's more differences, but you probably have to Google that. So, Adam, the Crates vinyl right here is not vinyl. That's the funny thing. These are actually platters that are especially made to use with phase. So the material, I don't even know what this material is. If it's some kind of like thin plexiglass, like you see white. If I look at it, I can see my fingers through it. And this side has a nice material that gives you a lot of grip, like small bubbles that you can feel. They have different kinds. Some are just flat. This one has more grip to it, and it comes with the magnet to hold the phase transmitter. Sorry. So that's what this is. Now, there's also ways to get like custom vinyl where you have the print on vinyl for Serato vinyl, for instance. But in this case, you cannot play this. You cannot put a needle on this. This does not have grooves. But they are custom. They're from 12-inch skins. And so they're not time codes. But they do also offer like time. You can make your own time code vinyl there. So I could make this exact same thing as vinyl. Ethiopian Music Mix was good. Oh, that's by DJ Jam. DJ Jam, what's up? I started the first part of the name, then I got the DJ Jam. Rafat wants to know, what is for you the best deck in 2021? The best deck. So you're going to have to clarify what you're talking about when you say best deck. Are we talking turntables? Or are you talking controller, player? So let me know what you mean when you say best deck. Now, look at that. Roger A. Martin in green. That's so easy to read. No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I mean, I guess it's probably easy to read on some devices, but I just noticed with this one, blue is super hard to read. A&W DJ is here. Good to see you. Do you have a preference on streaming platforms, Twitch versus Mixcloud, etc.? So for me right now, it's simple. Mixcloud is the only legal one. That's why I'm using Mixcloud. Twitch is the favorite, only because I can't add YouTube because I love YouTube. But Twitch has a really good community, so I love the chat when it comes to Twitch. And that's basically it. I'm also streaming on Twitter when it comes to the mixes, just because they allow me to, same as Periscope did. Periscope is gone. Twitter Live is basically the same thing, but there's not really an audience there. I don't know how many people are checking. I do see it gets some views. I can't see comments, so it's cool, but it's basically all about Mixcloud and Twitch. Cool thing about Twitter is, though, because there's no issues with the video, with the copyrights yet, you can see all the video replays there. That's only for the mixed streams, of course. If I'm doing a stream like this one, when it's just education, I'm streaming to YouTube and Facebook as well. Hopefully LinkedIn will be added soon as well. Did something fall? No, thought I heard some. Actually, in a minute, I'm going to check Mixcloud to see if there's some comments there. I hope Mixcloud will finally fix that so that I can see Mixcloud chat in the Restream chat as well. Because now I can see YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook right here. I want to be able to see Mixcloud here as well. Let's see. Did I forget one? No. Big Set says, which scratch would you tell a beginner to learn first other than the baby scratch? Okay. Well, actually, the same thing I did with my scratch tutorial series is I started with the baby. And from that, I feel you should just really expand on that with the basics that you can do just by doing the baby scratch. So, for instance, when you start to learn how to do, well, cuts, of course, so using the fader. So if you're just doing the baby and then you start to add the fader to cut in, then the stabs where you're just doing the forwards and not the backwards. So those are things you like I think that's the easiest to go to from babies, because you're still doing the exact same movement as the baby. And there's a lot you can add just by adding different fader movements. Now, also, this is something next time I will have the set here, because that would make it so much easier. While I'm talking about it, I could just do it. Now I can't do it. Now I'm bugging inside that I don't have this connected now. Next time. But yeah, that's what I would say. Like if you understand how the baby goes and you got that baby on lock, once you start to add the fader and you can do like stabs, military cuts, just normal cuts, speed the baby up, stuff like that, before moving to totally different scratches. Tractor DVS Mark II has absolute timing. So it knows where you drop the needle instead of only pitch change. Oh, okay. Cool. Now, I did not know that. That's what I said. Like, I don't have like a lot of experience with the Tractor vinyl. I don't even know if I have the Mark I or Mark II. I need to check that out. Is the Pioneer S11 a good upgrade from the S9, or is there no big upgrade? Just keep the S9. Ken, I would say that's totally up to you, because there's definitely more on the S11 compared to the S9, but is it stuff that you need? I can't answer that for you. Like, let's start with that screen. Is the screen something you will feel you can take advantage of, something you would like to have? If so, that alone could be a cool upgrade from an S9. Now, there's more. especially when it comes to the performance pads. You have just more options, better options on that S11 compared to that S9. And to me, the most important thing, but that doesn't even have to be the S11, that could also be the S7, is the fact that you have the USB hub on the mixer. So the S9 does not have the extra USB ports to connect, for instance, to Rain 12s or turntables that have USB. The S7 and the S11 can do that. Also, is BPM Supreme a good pool for all genres of songs? I actually am not sure. I checked BPM Supreme like 2-3 years ago, but I only looked at the section that interested me. So I was looking at like hip hop and R&B. I did not check to see which genres they have. So maybe someone else in the chat knows. I really can't tell you. Okay, Rafat, so the turntable for beat juggling and scratching. So the best deck in 2021, you're talking about turntables. I don't know if there's the best. Like, I'm having a lot of fun with the Reloop, the RP 8000 Mark II, just because of the features that it has. They're not 2021. My VL12s are not 2021. I'm not even sure if a turntable came out this year or last year. But yeah, I would go for those. Now, I have some classics here, like PDX 3000s Mark II. But the thing I like, if you're just talking about beat juggling and scratching, so then everything that's on that RP 8000 Mark II isn't really that interesting. I mean, that's more if you're using Serato and you want to be able to control your software. But like a lot of those new turntables, PLX 1000, you name them, they're all good. They're all good. I can't really tell you the difference as far as feeling. You would really have to feel. But you basically can't go wrong with any of them because they're all quality turntables. Hey, Gus Gomez, what up? What up? What up? Good to see you. HZ is here as well. Salute to you. And Gus Gomez, yes, indeed. That is an SP1. I don't even know where it is now. Oh, yeah, it's all the way there. Yes. SP1, indeed. Had fun with it before I had, like, mixers that all had the performance pads there. But I remember doing shows with like a 900 SRT, and then I would have that just to have the extra controls. So for that purpose, it's absolutely great. But yeah, I don't think Mixcloud is forwarded yet. No, it's not. It's not like Mixmaster G. That's what I said. I really hope they fix that because it's so annoying. Like, it's good that you said it actually, or reminded me, because I said I was going to take a look. I looked, no comment. Okay. But that's the thing. And it's something I don't really understand. I remember, I think it was at the end of last year, Cleveland Terry had, I forgot his name, he had the guy from Mixcloud on, and they talked about it. And the guy from Mixcloud was explaining, like, yeah, they understand, like, when they came out, when Mixcloud decided to, like, share that they were doing live, they kind of went before they planned to go because of the pandemic and because they saw that all DJs wanted to start streaming. So they released it before it was like totally ready. Now it works. We can't say that it doesn't work. It works. But he said that they were working on features that were close to stuff that we see on Twitch. So I think they were talking about stuff like raids and other things. And I remember the timeline that he was talking about. I think he was talking about either like March or something like that, March, April. So we're already way beyond that. And I haven't seen updates, but like this is one of those things. Like, for instance, I'm using Restream. I can set the title for my stream and just click OK. And then it will change the title for YouTube, for Twitch, and for Facebook, for instance, but I cannot do that for Mixcloud. For Mixcloud, I have to go to the site and I have to manually set stuff up. It will be so easy if I can just do that all just by hitting go without having to go to Mixcloud separately. And then I can't see that chat here. Now, in this case, there's no one there, but a lot of times during my mix streams, I have people on Mixcloud watching and commenting, and I have to remind myself, like, oh, I haven't looked there in like 45 minutes. And I want to be able to acknowledge everyone who comes into the chat and like shout them out or answer them. But I have to have a separate window open to watch Mixcloud. So I really hope they start to fix stuff like that. Wait, so Gus Gomez, oh, you're talking about this right here. Wait, let me see. Can you see that there? Oh, that's funny. You were talking about this because that SP1 is right there. So I thought you saw that one. So your subconscious just knew there was an SP1 here. You could feel it. So HZ, good question because I want to talk about that. And Philco79, salute to you. HZ says, will you be doing another plug-in in video or live stream and when you pick and prepare your vinyl again? So here's the thing. For the moment, I've put plug-in in and certified bangers on hold for the simple fact that I have too much work going on. I've been doing a lot of work in the studio. You can partially see there's things different here. I've been doing a lot of work, a lot of stuff that you won't really notice in videos, but stuff that's going to help me out when it comes to producing videos and live streams. Added some stuff, and I could just tell, like, a lot of times I was in the middle of stuff, or I would have like half the studio would be covered in all sorts of things, stuff. Everything was like on the floor, and I was like, oh, I got to stream in 30 minutes. I'm like, I can't do that right now. So for the moment, for at least the coming weeks, I'm just going to stick to Monday and Wednesday. So every Monday I'll be mixing. Every Wednesday we're doing this. Certified bangers, plugging in, just on hold. I do want to do the vinyl again. So maybe for the next vinyl edition, that's going to be the last of the month, maybe I'll find the time to do it on that Sunday before. But this time I didn't even have time to select my vinyl. So there was I couldn't even do the stream. I want to do that again because I think it's a cool way to share that. So just so you know, I am planning to do that again. Vinyl Touch, what up? And a question as well. An Audio-Technica LP 1240 just died mysteriously for me. In your view, what turntable would you recommend the most? Reloop RP7000, VL12, Technics MK7. I haven't used the MK7, so I'm not going to even recommend that. I believe it's also ridiculously expensive. Besides that, all the other ones are dope. That 7000, I think it's the 7000 Mark II, right? I've heard like great things. Haven't tried it, but I've heard great things. I still love my VL12. Same thing. Like I said in the other question, you can't really go wrong with any of those turntables. They're all good. They're just a little bit different. VL12, I love the way it looks. Feels great. It has a couple of extras that I like. I love the light ring around the platter. Subtle things. Stylish looking turntable, in my opinion. But if you want like a lot of functionality, then that 8000 has a lot. So I don't think I would recommend one the most. They are all good. You got to find which one you feel fits your style and budget, of course. Collector Ski, good to see you. All right, great. Collector Ski has the answer right here. BPM Supreme is good for pop and top 40, hip-hop DJ edits, and they got some 80s, 90s, and 2000s also. Yeah, Gus, like when that XP2 came out, for me personally, it wasn't necessary. Like I was always using mixers that would have the performance pads. If not, that is still a great thing. The XP2 can do a lot more, of course, than that SP1. But then again, like I still keep it around. Like I still have my 900. If I would have to do a gig with a 900 and I wanted to have like that extra functionality, I would bring that SP1 for sure. Neville was good. Neville GTI. How does it feel when people don't make acapellas and instrumentals for you? I don't really feel anything about that. Like they don't owe me acapellas and instrumentals. To me, it's always a plus. That's the thing. So of course, in some cases, you'll hear a song and you'll be like, ooh, that would be dope to have as an instrumental. Now, of course, there are ways that we can make our own instrumental and acapella now. They're not going to sound as good as like an original that was made in the studio. But if we want to, we can make something that could work. There's software out there to do that right now. So if I have a track and I really feel like it sounds dope, I'll go to RX8 and I'll extract that acapella, or just remove the acapella so I can have that instrumental, and it's going to sound pretty okay. What up, David Green? Armando was good. What DJ pool would you recommend for starting DJs? I think it kind of depends. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. And I can't really tell you what all DJ pools have. I'm going to be slightly biased because I work with DJ City and say DJ City. But no, I mean, you have to take a look at a couple of those DJ pools and see what they have to offer and what you would like most. If you see that one pool has more of the music you like, then that's probably going to be the pool for you. Then you can also compare prices, you name it. So it's going to be hard for me to say, like, hey, this is the best pool for starting DJs. The Funk House was good. The Funk House says, with the outside opening up, it's getting harder and harder to be online. Yeah, to a degree. To a degree. I mean, if I start to have a lot of gigs, most of those gigs won't be on Monday. So my Monday for streaming for crates, I don't think that's ever going to be too much of an issue. Same thing with this. This is on Wednesday. I mean, it can happen. I mean, I have an upcoming gig in July that's on a Tuesday night. So, I mean, it could happen that I get a gig on a Wednesday night. In that case, I'm going to see how I'm going to approach that. Now, in some cases, like with a stream like this one, I might even be able to do that on the phone while I'm heading to a gig if I'm not the one driving. But, yeah, I understand. It's not like we all are going to be able to, like, do 24/7 go online whenever it feels right, because if you're going to go out more and other things will take up time, you won't have as much time. And also predicted, like, when we get back to opening up, DJs will continue to stream, but not as much. Like, some DJs have been streaming like 5-6 days a week. If they now start to get the gigs again, like job offers, and they start to play again, they can't combine that. So they'll have to cut a couple of their days, most likely. I've also heard DJs say that they really kind of prefer streaming over the live gig. So some might not be as, might be hesitant to actually go back to doing a lot of gigs because they want to maintain what they have going on online. We'll see. Paul K, hello to you. And DJ Now is here as well. What's been the most effective? Oh, it jumped. Oh, no, there it is. What has been your most effective way to book events now that things are opening back up? It's way too soon to say that. We are now, just now in the process of opening up. So like I said earlier in the stream, we finally get to do a couple of the shows that were part of a tour that we were doing in October last year, when the country kind of opened up for a while before it locked down again, here in the Netherlands, that is. Now in June, we finally get to do the last shows from that tour. I had my first kind of gig yesterday. That was a TV gig. The upcoming weekend, I have those tour gigs. Then one more day or 2 more days with tour gigs, and one gig in July, one masterclass type of thing in July, my first festival in September. There hasn't been time to like look for strategies to get booked because people had no idea when things were opening up. And even now that they're opening up, like the tour that we're doing, the venues have a maximum amount of 50 people. So instead of doing 1 show, we're doing like 2-3 shows per night to accommodate some more people. So there's a lot of restrictions still. So I have not had any effective way to book because now it's starting. So that's going to be different in different places. Some places have been open for a while, so maybe they've been more at it. I have not been focused on that like at all. I've been receiving calls now. And that's the thing. If you have been DJing before everything happened, now that people start to organize again, if you were on their radar, in their address book, you might get a couple of calls. And I think it would also make sense just to reconnect with all of those bookers and promoters and everything, just to let them know you are still there as well. I'm not even doing that because I'm not really like on the edge of my seat trying to get out and do as many gigs as possible. But if that is the case, you should go for that. RC3, what up, man? Hope all is well. Salute to your dad as well. Paul K says, do you think the NS7 series is still relevant in 2021? I mean, to a degree, yeah. It is still the only like full-size controller with motorized platters. The Rain 1 came out. That is like a new, smaller version. But the NS7, especially the Mark III, is still an incredible beast. So I would not call that like an irrelevant controller. Like if you see an NS7 III, you're not going to be like, oh, that's so outdated. In my opinion, no. It is still a great piece of kit. Let's see. Gus Gomez says, if you're starting out, I recommend you buy DJ Music HDD. They sell like 2 terabytes full of music from all genres. Not to promote them, but a friend of mine bought it. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, though, Gus. I don't know this company, but I've seen offers like this in different places, and I still don't quite understand it because that is fully illegal. I mean, they don't have, there's no way they have the rights to sell 2 terabytes of music from all genres. There's no way they have that, sorted out with all the labels that they have the license to do that. And I see stuff like that. I've seen some websites as well where they sell like, hey, I wouldn't name names, but I don't even remember the name. I think I've seen 2 different DJs who have websites who like sell packs like, hey, if you're looking for the ultimate wedding crate, and then they have like they sell music to play at weddings, and it's not their music, like popular wedding hits. I don't understand how that works, how they get away with that. Maybe it's because it's below the radar still, but yeah, I don't know. And what do they charge for that though? Like for 2 terabytes of music, what are they charging for something like that? RC3 says, I was testing out Numark Scratch, and it was bad because there was a lot of cracking and it would freeze a lot. And my dad thought it was the laptop, but we tried the laptop with a DJ MS9 and SRT 1000, worked perfectly. So it was the drivers with the mixer. So we returned the old Numark, got a new one, same thing happened. So we uninstalled Serato, tried a different version, and it was still bad. Okay. I haven't heard that before. I've heard people who use the mixer. Yeah, that doesn't sound good though. Supposedly the Numark Scratch isn't compatible with Windows 10, so we tried it with a laptop Windows 7. Works perfect. So maybe that is the case, but that would be weird though, right? Because that's not a really old mixer. How could it not be compatible with Windows 10? Okay, first time I heard it. Rolando was good. Do you discount your rates based on the day of the week? I haven't really done that. So I don't know if that is something that is normal in certain places or not. I could see that I might actually take a gig. So for instance, I don't offer discount rates like that. But if someone would approach me with a booking and it's for a day that I normally would never have bookings and it's a little bit lower than my normal fee, I would probably think about still doing that gig just because of that reason. So if I get someone wants to book me for a Tuesday and it's a little bit lower, not a lot lower, then it's going to be an ultimate no for sure. But if it's like a little bit lower than what I normally charge, that's what they have for me, I would consider it just for that fact. But it's not like you can like book me and it's going to say like, hey, Fridays and Saturdays or Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays or whatever, and Mondays to Wednesdays are cheaper. So no, I don't do it like that. But maybe that is normal in some places. I'm definitely not familiar with the way it works everywhere. But I have done that in the past. But then again, like I said, it shouldn't be too low because, for instance, like in July, I have a gig on a Tuesday when I normally don't have gigs. So I wouldn't want to take a way too low paid gig for a day and then I find out I could have done another gig for a better price. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. Nishant wants to know what's the best entry-level controller. My answer would be I don't know, because there's a ton of entry-level controllers that have a lot of great function, just a lot to offer, and they all have similar kind of prices. So I would say you have to go try a couple out. I can't really say like this is the one. Like I used to talk about the DDJ 400 by Pioneer being great, but there's a lot more out there. Hercules has some great ones that I think are in the same ballpark when it comes to the price. Depends, like what are you looking for? You know, you have, even with entry-level controllers, you have something as small as like the strip size Numark, what are they called? The to-go type of things. They're super cheap, but they are smaller and they have less to offer compared to like a 400 or a Reloop Buddy, but the Reloop Buddy, I believe, has really small jog wheels. What do you prefer? That's why you need to go try stuff out. And functionality-wise as well. Do you want something that works with a laptop? Do you want something that works with a laptop but can also work with iOS, so with your phone or with iPad? You even have controllers that can work over Bluetooth. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a couple of videos online that cover like best DJ controllers, entry-level controllers of the year. I don't have a video like that out now, but I think Digital DJ Tips has a couple of those videos. So check that out. RC3, I'm going to check that out. Yes, I'm going to check that out. David Green says NS72 is just a beast. Weight-wise, I own one. Yep, even my Mark 1 is a beast. Weight-wise, I know. Okay, $235 for 2 terabytes of music. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a great price for so much music, even though I would like to see if it's all really valuable, if it's all like stuff you would use, because no one needs 2 terabytes of music. You just don't. It's a lot. $550 for 5 terabytes of videos. So yeah, I don't know how that works. It's crazy to me. I also see like DJs who offer like courses and like mini courses, but then you buy the course and the course comes with songs, and those are just like normal, like commercially released songs. No idea how exactly they're doing that legally. Chris on the mix says, I have the Numark Scratch. It works with Windows 10. So yeah, it's weird because like, especially because RC3 says he tried with 2 different ones, and in both cases it didn't work. Okay, I'm doing my second DJ concert in August. Super excited, and my dad got his first client in over a year. So we're back in business. Congrats. Yep. It's great to see like people finally getting back, or being able to go back to getting some work. Yep, Vinyl Touch, same here. Vinyl Touch says the same thing. It does sound suspect as a public service. Yeah, and behind the scenes, I mean, I know some DJs will do that behind the scene, but like I see like online, like people just advertising with them. Like how is that possible? Knights, what's good, Knights? Knights says, I have the Innovator Pro 2, but considering buying a Range 70 or 72, would you switch out the faders on those mixers? I don't know. I've never used the Innovator Pro 2. I love the fader on my 72. But if you're really used to your Innovator, maybe you want to switch it. But if you're going to get one of those mixers, you just buy the mixer, try it out with the stock fader that's in there, see how that feels. And if you're like, nah, it doesn't compare to my Innovator, then you can switch it out. I like the way it feels, though. I haven't used the 70, but on the 72, I like that fader. Cranan was good, or Cranan maybe. Can you give me some tips on branding, marketing, and networking as a DJ? That is a lot in one question. And they're also really different different things as well. Now, networking, since we're opening up, there's finally a chance to start networking in person again. Before that, you could only reach out to people online, which is a different thing, of course. And I would say make sure you go to all the venues you want to play at and go there and introduce yourself to DJs, promoters, owners, you name it, to make sure you get your name out there and not just walk up to people and say, like, hey, I'm a DJ. Can you book me? But, like, introduce yourself and talk, conversate. But make sure that you do get your name out there that way by actually talking to people. But when it comes to like branding, marketing, I mean, I actually think we have to like dedicate an entire episode to that, to talk about it. And things do change as well. It's hard for me to like come out with tips that worked 20 years ago, like, hey, make your own mixtapes and you name it. But I do still believe that that plays a part. You should have, your name should be visible and you should have material online. I still believe that is a good thing. So you should have mixes online, on SoundCloud, Mixcloud, you name it. I think streaming is also a great way to get out there and promote yourself. You need to be visible on social media. All of these things matter now. Marketing is a different story. Yeah, we need to do a different ep about that. Somehow my mind is not in it right now that I'm able to like blur out an entire talk about that. But I do feel it's worth like having an entire episode just to talk about that. So let's do that real soon, actually, so we can like just use that as the main topic. And I want to hear from y'all as well. Juggernaut also says sound quality of the files is very important. Yes, indeed. I totally agree. Nevik was good from Kenya. What's the best echo setting on Serato Pro? Here's the thing. There's no best echo setting. We all have our personal preferences. You can't say like, hey, you have, if you're going to use echo, it needs to be like this. No, you need to find out what works for you. So I can't answer that. You have to find out what works for you. I mean, I don't use a lot of echo. When I use echo, the first thing I do is make sure it's not, that's my thing though. I make sure it's not going to be too loud. So I want to make sure that I have my level set to a degree that if I hit echo and I take it out again, that you're not going to hear that echo for the next like minute. You want to hear that echo so you can actually hear the effect, but I don't want it to last too long either. But beyond that, I mean, I don't even look at settings too much. If I use an echo and it sounds like, hey, that was too long, I'll take it down a bit. If I don't hear it enough, I'll add some more level so the next time I use my echo, you can actually hear it well. So Chris on the mix says he has to install the driver for Windows for the Numark Scratch to work. So maybe RC answered that already. RC3, my dad used Vegas Pro 10 for 10 years, had hella problems with plugins and countless other things. Finally made the switch to Reaper, and he cried because it's the exact same workflow with Vegas. So he finally bought the full version for $60, and it's only 15 megabytes. Reaper, yeah, Reaper's a pretty small program, and it's very cheap. Heard a lot of good stories about it, though. Let's see. Queen Caesar was good. Still trying to work on getting my Twitch streaming together. What are you still working on? Let me know. Or let me read first, by the way. My old Windows computer isn't powerful enough to hold CPU, GPU. Don't want my Mac that I DJ off the stream. Any suggestions? Low-key, can't afford to purchase a new laptop to stream off. So your Windows computer isn't powerful enough to hold CPU, GPU. So is it really old? What are the specs of that old Windows computer, though? Because it's not like you need crazy specs in that computer to use that as your streaming device. Grandin says, here in India, more than skill, all the nightclub managers ask how much crowd can you bring in. Is it the same scene over there where you have to hustle and bring your own crowd more than working on sets? I have to say I've heard about this more. I don't want to say it's like that all over, but in the last couple of years, I've had several conversations here with DJs who told me about clubs where they played, where the person booking them was more interested in how many people they could get in, either through just the guest list or paying customers, but even guest list. Like if they could book a DJ and they knew the DJ could bring in 150 people, even if it was guest list, they would prefer that because then they would have like their club more full. They would probably make their money back at the bar. I've heard about DJs who have to sell tickets. I mean, so it's not, I don't think it's just an India thing, but I have heard about this in more places. So it's not the norm here. I don't want to say that. That's definitely not the case, but I have heard DJs here talk about that same thing. Sean, full course for beginner DJs this year, but I don't have it now. No, it's something I was working on, then I stopped. Last year is a different story, and I feel I'm in the right place to start up again. So yes, it is coming. DJ Fats was good. New DJ here. I got 4 gigs lined up for parties. Nerves, what would be the best advice you can give? So you're a new DJ and you got 4 gigs lined up. You're doing well. You are doing well. If you're a new DJ and you got 4 gigs lined up, that's salute to you. So what I always say when it comes to nerves is preparation is one. Be as prepared as you can be, and I'm not talking about your playlist, your mix. I don't know how you play, so if you play freestyle or if you have a prepared mix, but I'm talking about just the overall preparation so that you don't have to think or worry about that side of the deal. So knowing exactly what you're supposed to do, what is expected of you, what kind of people are coming, what equipment is in the club, all of that. So you just know when you walk in, you know exactly how the club is or how the venue is, what they're expecting of you, what is there, you name it. So no surprises on that end. And on top of that, of course, you want to make sure you have your music in order. So if you're playing freestyle or if you have a set, you want to have your music in order so you know you have what you need to have there. Beyond that, just know that you're going to make mistakes and don't worry about that. I always say that. I feel that's so important because I think a lot of people get nervous because they're afraid to make mistakes because you're worried you'll be judged for those mistakes. I can tell you most people don't even notice a lot of the mistakes that we as DJs will notice. You're only going to mess your own head up if you start to worry about that too much. You're going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I made mistakes the last time during my vinyl set. 2 times. I bumped into my needle because I wanted to change some setting on my ATEM Mini Pro. Needle flew all the way off the vinyl. It happens. I laughed and put it back on and continue. I'm not going to let that bother me for a second. And of course, I've had more experience, but even if you're starting out, don't worry about that. Mixmaster G has good advice there as well. Like for Queen Caesar, like you can also use your phone. So she says, I don't have an iRig. Yes, there are way cheaper audio interfaces. And I know before scrolling that Mixmaster G is already going to be recommending the Behringer. I forgot the name. That's a 222, I think, right? I'm going to scroll down. I predict that is the case. RC3, you're also doing a virtual gig for your school because this Friday is the last day. Okay, but you are going to play a gig there. That's cool, though. Mulberry says, the tracks in Beatport are numbered, and it says I have 8,000 tracks available. How many do you have in Beatport? Beatport, no, but you have Beatport. I have BeatSource, so I have no idea. I have never used Beatport before. And I do not know how many tracks are available in BeatSource. I'll have to look that up. Let's see. 90 proof. Hello. And Amando says, do you have some kind of partnership link with DJ City? If you're talking about an actual link you can click on, no, I do not. No. My partnership, I work with DJ City. I've been working with DJ City since 2015, creating content for DJ City. DJ City / BeatSource. but I don't have like some sort of partnership thing. I also organized their DJ City link ups in Amsterdam. So of course we haven't done any in the last like year and a half. Now that things are opening up, maybe that is something that will happen. If so, I think the first time we'll do that will be around October when we have if Amsterdam Dance Event is back. But yeah, Nishan, yes, I still make beats, and I also have produced a couple more tracks, and more are on the way. Old like it's running Windows 8, and it won't allow me to upgrade to Windows 10. Okay, 4 gigs of RAM. Okay, okay, I got you. No, that's not 3-4 years old. That has to be way older. Maybe you have it for 3-4 years, but if it's running Windows 8 and it's only 4 gigs of RAM, it's probably going to be a lot older. Let's see what's here. Okay, so Queen Caesar, you have this that Scarlet interface. Yep. Let's see. I'm gonna guess you're still talking about that, so I'm gonna go on for a sec. Uchiha was good. I make mistakes often, and I learn from them. I work on not having them happen again. Hey, that's the thing. Like, you'll do something, and in most cases, it'll be like, okay, not gonna let that happen again. And in most cases, it won't happen again. Same thing with like DJ software. Like, most of us have probably been in a situation where you load a track into the deck, and it's the wrong deck. It's the deck that was already playing, and then mid-track, you switch tracks and you shock your crowd to the fullest. I've had that happen twice. But you now know that is a thing that you don't want to happen. So in most cases, you will be prepared for that. It happened the first time. I told myself that will never happen again. And then a couple of years later, my head was not there. And then I made the same mistake. And that was really like, okay, this can never happen again. Grannon says, when you play often, like 3-4 days a week as a headliner, we obviously play hits. Have you ever felt like I'm playing the same music / playlist? Yeah, to a degree. I mean, I play freestyle, but the hits are tracks you're going to be playing at most of the events you play at. If you play for a certain genre, like I did hip hop R&B parties, you're going to have the same hits. So if you play like 3-4 times in a week, I mean, I've had it that I had like 2 gigs in one night, and at the second gig, I was like second guessing myself, like, did I play that track already? But I was confused because most likely I played it at the last party. That's why it's important if you're playing with DJ software, make sure that you reset the history. So if you're playing, a track doesn't show up as already played. I've had that happen. Like I was doing my second gig, I did not reset the history. So in Serato, a lot of tracks like showed up as tracks that I already played. So then you really start to second guess, like, did I play that now today or at the last gig? So I know the feeling, and it's something you will have to deal with. Like it's basically impossible to say like, hey, I've already played 2 gigs. My next gig, I'm not going to play the hits. That's going to be a tricky one. Chris Blackman was good. I have a Numark Scratch Windows 10, and it had issues on my previous laptop. Serato will not work with AMD processor. Really? That is highly unlikely. The reason why I say that is because I DJ on my studio computer. I've done that for the last months, and that is an AMD processor. So Serato most definitely works with the AMD processor. I can tell you that. So I don't know what the issue was, but it's not Serato and AMD. That is one thing I can tell you for sure. Like my streams from the last like 2 months, maybe more, have been AMD. Did I miss one here? I'm not sure. Let's see. David Green says, for bulk selling of music, legally they may have a contract with a music distributor company. I don't think that works that way. No, I highly doubt that. Like, which music distributor company would have, could that be? Like a music distributor for digital sales. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there is a loophole there that I don't know about, but I can't really see it. And I think it would cost you quite a bit to get that license to do that for all of those different genres, for that amount of music, and selling it at that price. But I don't know. Like, just imagine if normally if you buy a song digitally, it's going to cost you at least $1, right? 2 terabytes of music. How many songs are we talking about? For a couple of $100? Nah. No money would be made if that's done legally. Yes, Queen Caesar is right. Still needs a driver when it's ran on Windows. Mixmaster G is all in Mac, so anytime he sees class compliant, he's like, no drivers needed. That's a great thing with Macs. Like, you hardly run into that. But with Windows, with so many devices, you will need drivers. Yep. Yeah, Gus Gomez, I never lock my decks because I move on the fly so fast. So for the people that don't know, like with a lot of DJ software, you can, in the settings, lock your decks, meaning that you will actually have to stop the player in order to load a new track. That is a great fail-safe to make sure you never load a track into a playing deck. My problem is with that, I go fast and on the fly. So if I have one track playing and I'm mixing in the new track, as soon as I've done my transition, I hit that instant double. If I first have to stop, then load the new track in, even if it's instant double, and then start it up, then it's not playing at the exact same spot anymore. It just takes up too much time. So I do not want that extra step. That's why I never lock my decks. But yes, I do run the risk that if I go too fast or if I lose my focus, I could potentially load a track into the wrong deck. It can happen. Just checking if we're still good. Big Set wants to know tips for dropping on the one for hip hop. There's not really a lot to talk about when it comes to that, because dropping on the one, of course, is exactly that. You're going to drop your track on the one instead of doing a mix transition where you're actually blending tracks. So normally, if I'm playing 2 tracks, if I'm mixing a track and I'm doing a mix transition, a lot of times I'll mix the new track into the chorus of the old track. If I'm going to drop it on the one, then I just let the chorus on one track play. And after the chorus is done, so when the new verses is going to begin on that one, that's where your track here should come in. Now, sometimes when I'm playing and the chorus is playing, I might actually pull the fader down a little bit early if it's a track where I know the crowd is singing along. So then maybe for the last sentence of that chorus, I'll already pull the fader down, and then on the one I'll bring it in. Other times I'll just let it play and have this one ready. And when that one is there, I just let it go on the one. Now, tempo-wise, it is important that you're going to be in the same BPM range. It can be 2, 3, even 4 BPM faster. That's not going to shock your crowd. But if you have a track playing at 80 BPM and the next one is 100 BPM, if you drop it on the one, that tempo change is a lot. So even though you dropped it on the right count, 100 BPM is a lot faster. It's a totally different swing. So that could catch people a little bit off guard. I do, however, I have done that. But in that case, I will definitely take the fader down earlier. That way, they're not focused as much on that timing. And then when you bring it on the one, it won't shock them as much. But the best scenario is to make sure that your tracks are in the same BPM range when you drop it on the one like that. So I guess those would be like the first tips I can think of right now. Yeah, so Chia, that thing right there. resetting the tracks. I forget it all the times. Really forget it all the times. If you're playing once a week, you're not really going to make the mistake like, hey, did I play that already? But if you're playing like 3-4 nights a week, or like I said, I had like a lot of times I would have like, not a lot of times, but I've had plenty of gigs, multiple gigs on one night. You really need to reset just to make sure. So you don't even have to think. You can just look and see like, okay, I haven't played that track yet for this gig. So yeah, Jorge Blanco says the same thing. Works with AMD, and I built my PC. Same here. James B says, when Apple drops a new chip and or OS, how long does Serato take to catch up? I don't know. They caught up now. I think it takes it depends. Like you see, like also for different brands, for different companies, it takes more or less time. Some companies are super fast with it. Others takes longer. I have no idea on the insides of that. I see Mixmaster G, so I'm gonna go straight there. He says, in case of the M1, it took a long time. Serato 2.5.5 doesn't start up on the new Mac OS Monterey on M1. I just showed yesterday in my stream, a lot of software needs to be rewritten to take full advantage of the M1. So yeah, that is the thing. Like in this case, because they like totally changed chipsets, it's a totally new thing. It's not like just a different Intel chip. It is totally different. That takes longer. Let's see. Okay, so Gus Gomez, is that true? With instant double, you don't have to stop it? Okay, that's cool to know. But the same thing applies, though, even if it's not like an instant double and I just move on to the next song, I still go really fast. So I just don't want to have to focus on stopping, because I tried that in the beginning. I was like, okay, let me use that log deck. And I was playing, mix a track, new track was playing. All right, search for the next song, load. Oh, stop, load, start. Just that movement alone, those are steps I don't want to take. But okay, it's good to know that the instant double still works, because I definitely did not know that. Uchiha says, I just want to say I appreciate everything you do, watching your channel. I appreciate that. And your contact has helped me grow as a DJ. Hey, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. I really appreciate that. Okay. Thut 42. What's your hands down 2 favorite tracks to mix? I could not tell you, because I really don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Sometimes you run into tracks, you're like, hey, these work really well together. I cannot name any right now. No. And I don't really have a lot of those that make you say like, oh, I do that mix all the time. So no. If I see tracks, if I see certain folders that I have, I might say like, hey, I have done this mix like quite a few times because it always works well. But off the head, I can't say. 9 Iron was good. 9 Iron says, I mix with headphones sometimes, so my speakers are loud in my area. When live streaming, which direction should the speakers be? Facing me or opposite? So when I'm streaming, my speakers are facing me. But it depends. Like, I've done streams where they're facing me. I've done streams where they're on a side, all depending on how I have my streaming set up. So, for instance, my last gig, my last stream, or even my last 2 streams, I've had my setup like this, and my speakers are there. Now, I'm going to get, at a certain point, trying to get some extra speakers so I can have a set here as well, pointing at me. For me, it's important because I can't make too much noise, so I want to keep my volume, like, pretty limited. So the closer the speakers are to me, the lower I can keep my volume. But yeah, normally they will be at least facing me instead of facing the other way, because if they're facing the other way, but in your case, your speakers are loud, but you control the volume for your speakers, right? So if you're live streaming, there's not going to be a lot of people there. Or are you talking about doing a live stream during a real gig with people? Maybe that's the thing. Hey, Sven, what up? What up, Sven? And Lashima says, I have my first gig in a few weeks. What's the best way for me to download music in bulk? Currently, I've been mixing through Rekordbox, SoundCloud Go, so I have no music on my USB. Okay. But wait, so you have your first gig in a couple of weeks, but you have no music? Like that's for me, it's kind of, I don't think I've heard that before. How long have you been DJing then? So when you started out, you just started out using SoundCloud Go straight away? Because I don't think there's a way to download music in bulk, really. I mean, you could join a DJ pool and then you can actually just start downloading their archive, track by track though, not bulk. But you don't want to do bulk, I think. Like a lot of times with bulk, let's say we're talking about, for instance, and again, I don't think it's legal. Earlier in this stream, we talked about someone who bought 2 terabytes of music. So that's bulk. If you get 2 terabytes of music right now, you're going to be in trouble. You're not going to be able to find anything. It's going to be crazy. Like, especially, nothing is sorted out. Now, I don't know. Let me not say that. Maybe it is sorted according to genre and everything. I don't know. I can't speak. But you're going to be overwhelmed by so much music. So it's better. If you've been DJing, and up until this point, you've been using SoundCloud. But wait a minute. If you've only been using SoundCloud, SoundCloud does not have all of the commercial tracks there, right? No matter the case, if you've been using SoundCloud Go up until this point, I assume you have made like playlists that you use, right? Or some way to make crates. If that's the case, then you know which tracks you would want to have, and then you could like join a DJ pool to try to download as many of the tracks that you currently already use. Because if you have a gig coming up, you don't now all of a sudden want to have all music that you don't know yet. You're better off having music that you already know. Yeah, it's a weird situation. I haven't really heard that before. Like if you have a gig coming up and now you want to start downloading music. Let me see if you said something else. Jorge Blanco, I appreciate the bits, by the way. I see that now. And Trevor Harris says, how long do you stay in a particular BPM range? When you're transitioning to another genre, under range, do you make smaller jumps or do you prefer larger jumps? So for me, I tend to start at a certain BPM and just go up. Not the entire time, but like for instance, if I start a stream and I start like warming up, I might start with some R&B at, could be anything, could be 80 or 85 or maybe 90. And then I start there, and from there, in the first part of that I'm playing, I'll stay in that range. So that could be from 90 all the way up to like a 95. Now, maybe from there on, I'll just continue up. So I'm scrolling, and maybe I'll see the next track, and it's going to be 98. What I'll do in that case, if I'm going to go from 95 to 98, I'll speed up the 95 track a little bit, and I'll slow down the 89 track a little bit, bring them both to the middle, make my transition, and then I'll speed that 98 track back up again. So I can smuggle that way, especially if I'm playing digitally and I have my master tempo on. You can't even hear it. That makes it a lot easier. So it's not like I start at 90 BPM and then I go 90, 91, 92, 93. There's going to be small jumps in there. Unless I feel like, hey, I want to switch the vibe and I know that I'm going to something that's a lot faster or a lot slower, then I'll find a way to make a switch to that other BPM, and then I will stay in that range for a while. Or sometimes in my streams, I will start to go up, and then I'll go up like 105, 110, 110, 112, 15, 15 to 20. Then before I know it, I'm at 130. But I'll do that with like small increments where I jump a couple. So yeah, that's what I normally do. Collector Ski Music says having intro edits are cool, but there are certain tracks sounding better cutting up, beat juggling, and dropping on the one. For instance, Gangstar Full Clip. What are your thoughts? I agree 1,000%. A track like your example right here, Full Clip. Why would you want to bring that in any other way than if Big L, rest in peace. Bang. Having said that, I think I've mixed that track in twice, and the blend was cool, but you don't need it. If you're playing for a crowd that likes full clip, you want to just drop that Big L, rest in peace. They know exactly what time it is, and when that beat comes in, they're all going along. Some tracks are great for mixing. Sometimes it's just great to not do it. So even though you now have a lot of edits for tracks, so that tracks that normally don't have an intro now have that 8-bar intro, you don't always want to have that 8-bar intro. Yeah, some tracks you just want to bring in. You don't bring me a lean back intro track. Just give me that raw intro the way it is. Let's see. So no, that Lashemba, I agree. You don't want to just now start to play music that you don't know. So yeah, but I can't really answer the bulk download because I don't know. Okay, so Sean says a friend bought a hard drive. It had crates, but you still need to sort it to your liking. Yeah, I agree. Like even if it's sorted according to like genre or years or BPM, you're gonna have to go into each and every crate and see which tracks you like. And if you buy something that's like really large, a lot of files, it's going to take so much time. I know I have terabytes of music, and I know it's going to take me forever to sort that out. So Jorge Blanco says you could use smart crates to organize. That depends on how well the tracks are tagged. So if they have a lot of info, if you can tell, like if they have, of course, you analyze, so you have BPM and key. But if it only is BPM, key, and genre, that's not a lot. Then you can sort it a little bit, but and that's my objective as well for my own crates. I want to make sure I have my tags, like my tracks tagged to a heavy extent, because that's going to allow me to, with smart crates, intelligent playlist and record box, to like say like, hey, I want a crate now that has like this BPM range, maybe key, probably not. This BPM range, this rating, it's perfect for a warm-up or for prime time. It has this color for this type of vibe, click. That's going to give me a pretty good selection. But if I only have like BPM, key, and genre, even if I can add year to that, and you have like 2 terabytes of music, that's still going to be like crazy crates. Yeah, David Green, that's a good one. You set Serato to reset played songs on shutdown. Serato says do not use AMD, or they did at one point. That must have been a long time ago, I think. But yeah, that's a good one, like reset on shutdown. I should actually do that. And like Jorge Blanco says, maybe it's an old AMD chipset, but I mean, I can't imagine like a lot of companies still not working with AMD. The way they came up in the last, I don't know, couple of years. Woo! Same here. I'm running a Ryzen 9 as well, and that thing is a beast. Got the 3900X in there. No issues whatsoever. We got DJ Costa Rica in the building. What's good? What's good? And you have to know your music indeed. So Sven says, how do you deal with song requests or songs you don't know? Well, if I'm playing and someone will request a song that I don't know, then I don't know it and I'm not going to play it. It's simple as that. Like, hey, do you have blah, blah, by blah, blah? I'm like, no. And I don't know it. I've had that happen once. Like someone came up for a song request and I was like, I don't know which song that is. And they gave me a look like, really? You don't know that song? No, I don't. And I don't care what you think about that either. I don't know it. Song requests, there's a time and place for it, in my opinion, and that's almost never. Sorry for me kicking the tripod. That is something I'll have to get used to if I'm using this setup. Like here, I can bump into it. So there's a time and place for requests, and in my opinion, that's almost never. People should let the DJ. I'm not walking into the neighborhood bakery and I'm going to tell him how or her how to bake their bread. That's not how it works. I've had a couple of gigs where it was so unclear what the crowd wanted to hear because I could not read them because they were not giving off any signals. During that gig, I had someone come up and she requested a couple of tracks that made me say like, okay. I played one, the crowd loved it. Played the other one, crowd loved it. I was like, okay. From that, I actually knew which tracks would fit as well. But in that case, the song request really helped me out. In most cases, it does not help me out. You're bothering me while I'm playing. A lot of times people will have very egotistical reasons for requesting because they want to hear a song. I've had so many song requests where people request a song that will make no sense at that moment. Like I knew if I play your track now, I'm killing the vibe that I just spent the last 45 minutes creating. But they don't think about that because they're only thinking about, hey, I would like to hear this track now. They're not thinking with you like, hey. Sometimes I had people, and they were cool, like they were feeling the vibe to the fullest, and then they would start naming tracks that would actually fit well. But then still, in most cases, those were tracks that I was going to play anyway. So they probably had felt like I'm playing their requests, but they're asking tracks that I'm going to play anyway. Like I'm playing a throwback hip-hop party. I'm playing a couple of the usual suspects, and then you have someone saying, like, hey, can you play Shook Ones, Mobb Deep? Yeah, that one's coming up anyway. So I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to play that. Most times do not come to me with requests. So, Palazzo says, is Phase worth getting now in 2021? Well, for me, it was worth getting it in 2019 and 2020, and for sure in 2021. I was one of the people who was lucky enough not to really have issues with it, but since I got it, they came out with update after update after update, and every time I've heard people tell me like, hey, now it's working for me. Hey, now I don't have these issues anymore. And of course, now since their last update, especially if you're using Serato, where you don't even have to use RCA anymore with their wireless mode, which worked perfect for me here as well, I absolutely love it. Sean says, I'm editing all my tracks to be able to play to do the smart playlists. Yep. I mean, you can do smart playlists now, but the more you tag, the more info you have, the easier it becomes to like sort out music. Uptown Flavor in the building. What's good? What's good? Can you do a blend with sucker MCs with Sweet G games people play? Got to do wordplay though. I don't know. Maybe. I'm trying to think off the head how the Sweet G track goes. I want to check that out after the stream. Okay, let me see. Queen Caesar, because I missed your last one. You say it's too late for me to return my webcams and the equipment that I purchased. I'm stuck. Okay, now with this Apple camera kit, once I have my audio connected, can I just stream straight into Twitch? Or I'm going to have to download something else or purchase an app or something for the camera to work. So I would use OBS, and OBS is free. OBS is streaming software, and it's free. So you do not have to purchase that. That's the great thing about OBS. It has a ton of features, and it's absolutely free. And, I mean, yes, if you have the webcam now, use it. Use what you have, especially if you can't return it, use it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a webcam. I would not call it the best option in most cases, but if you have them now, go for it. Cool thing about a webcam is you do not need a video capture card because it's going straight into the computer. So that is a good thing about the webcam. So yeah, go for it. And look at OBS. It's free. Yeah, Jorge Blanco says I use it to stream, record, DJ all at the same time. CPU not even hitting 10%. So for me, it's the same thing. So of course I'm not mixing now, so the only audio coming in now is the microphone. But I'm recording my stream, and I am streaming from that computer. And in this case, it's let me see, what does it do now? It's doing a couple of percent right now. I have a couple of other windows open that you can't see right now, but yeah, it's only a couple of percent. So it's easy. It's way below 10 indeed. And even if I have Serato open, it's not gonna do a lot more. Gotta love those Ryzen systems. Elite Construction says a program to fix my folder. In what way do you need to fix your folder? Let me know how you mean that. How do you need to fix your folder? David Green, I agree. Iconic intros just need to be left alone. Yeah, they have their own impact. You don't want to ruin that with like a edit. Brandon says, I've been mentoring people on DJing for the last 4 years. Now from 2020, due to COVID, my base is shut and everything's online. And I've been mentoring my students online. Hey, it's a great time to be alive when it comes to tech, and just the fact that you can do this. And by the way, I think you said you were from India, right? I mean, you guys have it rough over there right now. So of course, like you can't do anything in person now. And now, thanks to the internet, you can still do stuff like that. So that's great. I want to know how I'm supposed to stream good quality audio to the other end from my phone when I showcase and explain about a certain topic. So the best way to do that is to be able to connect your equipment to your phone in this case. There are ways to do that. So the best way is to have like a small audio interface that you can connect to your phone, and then you can connect your DJ set and maybe a microphone that's connected to your DJ set, but connect your DJ set to your phone that way. There's devices out there. There's like small, pretty cheap audio interfaces out there that can do that. And you can connect those to phones. So I don't know what kind of phone you're using, but I mean, there's plenty of like audio interfaces that will work with computers, but also with iOS devices. And then you're going to get a lot better audio, because if you're streaming from the phone and you have to use the audio from your speaker, you can do it, but of course it's not going to be as good as getting direct audio into the stream. Sven, I still did not have time. My last week has been, weeks have been pretty crazy. I actually have to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take an actual photo of this part right here. This is going to be like a reminder for me. Otherwise, I'll probably just forget it again. All right. Lydio G says, what do you think about OnlyFans to broaden your audience? I don't know in what way to actually broaden your audience. Because for OnlyFans, people have to pay or subscribe to you, a paid subscription, for you to show them something extra, right? So I don't know. I don't know if that is actually something that's good to broaden your audience. No idea. Yeah, Ves, I was going to have the site back up in a day, and then I just hit the studio, and I had to do so much here that the site had to actually wait. Had to wait for a second. So yes, it is still under construction. Should be fixed soon, though. I'll at least have a one page up by the end of the week or after the weekend, because this week is kind of crazy. I'm streaming now, but I have to prepare for the tour shows for the weekend. I still have to edit some Beat Source stuff. So plenty of things going on, but the website will be up soon. Queen Caesar says, I'd like to use my webcams, but I don't have a computer. Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot you had the computer issues. Yeah, my bad. Um, yeah, yeah, that's pretty rough. I forgot you had the super old Windows computer. Oh, yeah, then I'm not sure that, or you just have to hold on to the webcams until you can get another computer, and until that time, start out with the phone just to get used to streaming, and at a certain point when you can get like an extra computer to become like a streaming computer, then that's gonna be like the upgrade. How do you deal with duplicate songs in different folders, manually or some software? I'm still looking at software. I downloaded some software, but I haven't gotten it to work yet. If I get it to work, I'll make sure to mention it on stream. So here's the thing, Queen Caesar. You say I have a Mac, so I use Finder and search the track and delete the duplicates from the folder that I don't want them in. If I would do that with all of my music, first off, I would have to have an entire list of all the tracks that I have in order to put them into Finder. But I'm not on the Mac right now. But manually, we're talking years and years. So that's not an option. I have too much music, and I think Jorge has the same. Jorge has the same thing. Like, you need a program to automate that process. Otherwise, it's going to be a crazy. That's going to take up all my time. I would have to set family and everything aside and do nothing else but that. Hey, April Gray in the building. What's good? What's good? What do you think about? What do you think of being a DJ nowadays? You need tracks, a lot of followers, take the mic, hype the crowd, etc., etc. Yeah, I mean, and you know this because you're in the same scene. Like, personally, for me, I kind of lost a little bit of interest in DJing here too much because I didn't really like a lot of the parties. I like new music, but not a lot of the new music that was played at every party. So even like the normal, what would normally be like the hip hop R&B parties, basically turned into like 90% of it had like some sort of reggaeton, Afro type of influence in the beat. A lot of Dutch tracks, a lot of auto tune. I like some, but not all. Everything sounds pretty much the same. So yeah, I kind of lost a little bit of interest in that. Beyond that, I still love being a DJ. There's just not as many parties for me out there now. So the last year has been a lot of fun, especially with streaming, where you can really do your own thing. Doing your own thing a lot and having fun with that also fuels you, gives you more energy again, and more excited to go out and play as well. But yeah, still, like, I had a certain point, like in the last couple of years, where they started to really book me mostly for like the throwback parties. And I don't mind too much because I love playing that music. I love playing like the 90s hip hop R&B. But there's also a lot of new music I like. But I remember like a couple of times when I was playing at an Encore, I would come with like new music. But then like half of the tracks I would have would not be the tracks that the crowd is into. So in order for me to really figure that out, I would have to like go to a lot of those parties to hear a lot of the songs that they are into. I don't really have the time or feel like going to a lot of clubs when I'm not DJing. So yeah, I mean, and you probably know this better than me, but I don't even know how much attention like bookers are paying to the amount of followers you have here in the Netherlands. I mean, I know people do. I don't know how big of a role it plays here. But it is a thing. Like, people do check social media as well. And my social media is okay, but my following is not particularly the following they're looking for. I have a lot of DJs. I don't have like the club going audience. Like, most of the people in my streams, even when I'm doing like my mixes, are DJs. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens now that we're opening up here again. What type of parties, what type of things are going to be happening. I know a lot of clubs were in trouble, and I don't know how it's going to be for us here. We'll have to see. Like, I got my first shows with Brain this weekend, and they're only for 50 people. So we'll see. So how's it for you? You have festivals lined up for this year already? I currently have one in September. Probably more coming though, but not too many yet. Gladys, what's good, Gladys? Elite Construction says, I have a problem with my music library. Some tracks, they don't have information. Track artist, name, BPM, cue point. And it's hard and annoying to do one by one. I buy my music from Latino DJ Pool. Hey, I spend a lot of my time during my live streams setting cue points on the fly. Just because I know it takes a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time. A lot of times while I'm DJing, because I'm playing freestyle, I'll grab tracks I haven't played before, start doing the cue points on the fly. But it takes time. It takes time. Now, you can use something like Mixed in Key, and it can set cue points for you automatically, but like you have to like the type of cue points they set. For me, those cue points don't make a lot of sense. I've used Mixed in Key. I like it for analyzing music, but I've used it to set some cue points, and I was like, okay, that's not how I set my cue points, so that didn't make sense for me. Elite Construction makes me, well, you're switching right now, going back and forth, hitting us with English and going back to Spanish. Yo tengo mismo problema. And I said that, but I have to, I kind of understand what you're saying, but I don't really speak Spanish. I'm faking it right now. Sven, yes, the vinyls I have here are not vinyl. It's like a plexiglass type of material. It's there's no grooves in here. This is just for phase, so you get it's the same size as your vinyl, and it has you get it with a magnet so that you can put your phase transmitter on it, and it has like a material that has a very nice grip. So I absolutely love these. I'm definitely getting more. Lydio G says, not in a traditional sense of OnlyFans. I keep getting offers to do my DJ set on OnlyFans, but I think you answered my question. Okay, but look. That's a different scenario right there. So if you say that you get offers to do DJ sets on OnlyFans, maybe there's an opportunity there. That's a different situation. Like, I thought you were going to just get an OnlyFans account to get a different audience, and I don't know if that's going to work. But if you're getting offers, you need to check that out. See what's going on there. Maybe you have something there. Hey, Elite Constructions, I feel you. Doing one by one takes a lot of time. I feel you 100%. Mulberry, all the time. You know it. Let's see. Oh, now it's going fast again. I have to go back up. I'm missing a question. For mixing genre changes, if you know the song sampled, mostly talking about hip-hop, you can use those to jump around. David Green, I'm trying to follow that. For mixing / genre changes, if you know the song sampled, you can use those to jump around. Okay. My brain is having a hard time trying to get what you're saying there. But that's me. That's not you. Costa Rica says it's 50-50 setting my cue points on the fly and when I'm practicing. Yeah, same here. If I have a chance to play around, I'll set cue points all the time. No, Sven, this is also the magnetic sticker. It's the same thing. You just get this, and this is one of those magnetic stickers. You get them, and I had to put it on myself. So it's the exact same thing you get when you buy phase. Same one. Royal Kale 2, what's your view on using services like Tidal during your DJ sets? I did that. I use BeatSource a lot, BeatSource Link. And 2 weeks ago, I was using BeatSource Link and Tidal. I love it. I prefer BeatSource Link because BeatSource does have more info. If I make a playlist on Tidal, I only see song titles. If I do it on BeatSource, BeatSource also shows me BPM, which makes stuff a lot easier. And I can also use filters to set a BPM range, key, you name it. But the services, like streaming services, so using BeatSource, using Tidal, using SoundCloud, it all works absolutely great. Now, I'm using it here with a cabled connection, but I've also played in clubs using the Wi-Fi. Worked perfectly fine as well. So I think it's a great addition. I always have music on the laptop, but just to have that as well, I love it. So Queen Caesar, no, you make total sense. I get the whole Finder thing. I totally get it. But just imagine if you have terabytes of music. I don't even know what to type into Finder. I would have to go through my folder, and with every track I see, I would have to then type that into Finder to see if there's like multiples in my computer. That process is just going to take us that's just not realistic. If I want to do that with all my music, it would literally take me years to do that. So what I did do is like I put all my music into I think I used, which program did I use? I put it into a program, scanned it, and everything under a certain bit rate I just deleted. So everything under 192 I just deleted just to make it smaller before I start to do more things to sort out music and tag it. Just get rid of the low quality. But still, there's so much music that I have. D Bling says, if I'm playing from a thumb drive and streaming that music on OBS, does it put less stress on the computer compared to DJing on Serato and streaming that at the same time? Hold up. So D Bling, let me see. How do you mean? So are you DJing and streaming from the same computer? Because if you're DJing and streaming from the same computer, I don't think playing the music from a thumb drive will help you. No, I don't think so. Okay. April. Nice. Trevor Harris wants to know where do you set your cues? It depends on every track. It depends. So, well, the first cue point normally is the beginning of the track. So that could be an intro where they're talking. It could be that a track just starts with a drum, with a beat. But I will normally have just a cue point at the beginning, just in case I want to start from the absolute beginning of the song. I'll always have a cue point on where the actual beat begins. But then beyond that, it really depends. Some tracks will have will start with a sentence, and I'll want to make sure that I have a cue point at that where I can backspin that. Sometimes I'll have that on the kick, on the one. Sometimes I'll use the snare before the one because that's a cooler point to use depending on the sounds of the song. So I do not have a lot of cue points. Like every song has a cue point here, there, and there. So for instance, I don't use cue points to set a mix in and out point. What a lot of people will do, they'll have like a set in. This is where I need to start my mix, and this is where my mix needs to end. It's a very useful tool, but I don't use that. So my cue points can be all over the place. Sometimes a track will have a little portion in there, which is dope to loop up or to use, and I'll just put a cue point there. But that could be at a random point in the track. So all over the place. Royal KL, for sure. Connor Dorney says, what advice would you give yourself when you started DJing? Greetings from Ireland. What advice would I give myself? Do the same damn thing. I have to be honest, that's how I feel about it. I got into DJing because it sparked something in me. I got in this for the love. I played all day, not because I wanted to be some DJ on a stage. I was DJing all day because I absolutely loved it. For the first, I don't know how many months or longer, I never even thought about playing somewhere. I wanted turntables because I wanted to play, manipulate the music, have fun, learn how to scratch because I heard that on albums, listening to those albums, trying to do those same cuts. That was it for me. That was it for me. It was all about that passion and enjoying something so much and really liking it and wanting to learn more and get better. But I think that's the perfect place to start. So I don't think I would have any other advice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to tell myself. Neved, what's good? Finally starting to hit the crabs. Hoping to catch you your set this time. So you can go to Twitter, twitter.com/DJ TLM, and you can actually see my old sets there. And besides that, you can find me every Monday. Yeah, man. Getting that crab in. Dope. JS Rock, good afternoon. Well, for us, it's evening, but good afternoon. And David Green says an example. Gym Class Heroes, Cupid Chokehold, and Supertramp's Breakfast in America. It gives you the versatility to jump to hip-hop from classic rock. Okay, I got you. Yep. And Sven, did you find out all the scratch techniques by yourself? A lot. And a lot of times I did not know what they were called. I learned a lot of names later. So I didn't have any tutorials. So no one taught me how to do, this is how you do the baby. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. I was just messing around with it a lot. And for instance, a flare, I just found out how to do a flare. And I don't even think I do it the traditional way. But later on, when I was doing it, someone told me, hey, dope, that's the flare. I was like, oh, really? Oh, okay, cool. But a lot of scratches, I didn't even know the names. And like I just said, I used to listen to scratches on records. Like, especially back in the days, like if you look at 80s and 90s, like a lot of hip hop songs would have scratches in the songs, like in the hooks. And I was listening to those scratches. And then you try to do some of those scratches you hear, but you don't know what they're doing. You're only hearing, so you're not even seeing it. You don't see the platter movement, fader movement. So you're just messing around, and then you stumble into things. Now, later on, we did get a little bit more material out here, so you see more. But even then, it still weren't really tutorials, but then you saw it. So I remember seeing a crab, not even knowing what it was, but seeing someone do it and seeing those fingers moving, you're like, I need to try that out, you know? Queen Caesar, I don't think you have OBS on phones. Or I'm crazy, but I don't believe. I mean, there's a phone app for OBS, but that's to use your phone as a camera in OBS. I don't think there's like a mobile OBS app besides that. So you have camera for OBS Studio, and that's basically it. I see there's like an unofficial OBS controller, but that's not the same thing either. Now, there are live streaming apps, though, that you can use on the phone, but not OBS. But there are some apps that can do something like that. Morris, what's good? I mean, Sean, that's the same. Like, that's how it was for me. Like, I just want to be good at it. No aspirations to play out. But I can't say, like, the first time I did play at an actual club, I played at like birthday parties for friends, with friends, all in good fun, and the vibe was great. But I remember the first time playing at a venue, hearing my music through big speakers with a crowd on a dance floor, that did add a new element to it, and that definitely sparked something in me like, oh, okay, this is a new type of energy. Getting like energy back from a crowd, that did wake me up like, oh, okay, this is dope. But I still wouldn't have wanted to have that when I was still practicing in my room. Just the innocent freedom of just loving something and not thinking about any motives, just doing it because you love it. I think it's a great place to start. But once you feel that live thing, that is something special. It really is. Elite Construction, when it comes to DJ pools, you have to just try some out because they offer different, it depends on what type of music you're looking for, because I think a lot of DJ pools have a different archive. I think I missed one. Maybe I'll scroll back later. Royal Kale says, what's a good practice schedule for the week? Like Monday scratching, Tuesday beat matching, etc.? I think I was DJing like 8 hours a day. And for a certain portion, I might be just scratching, and a lot of times I would be mixing. I had no schedule. I was just behind the decks anytime I could be. I was playing basketball or I was practicing. It was one of the two, but I never had a schedule. But for some, that might work, actually, just having a goal. Like, hey, today is going to be like scratch practice all day, even though I think that's probably going to be too long, depending on how long you have every day, of course. How do you stream from 2 different laptops? Well, you're streaming from one. So a lot of people will have a streaming computer, could be a computer or a laptop, and they're DJing with another computer. So it's not like the stream is coming from both devices. But for instance, if I'm streaming, and before I used my studio computer, I was streaming with a laptop, that was the DJ computer, and my audio will go from my mixer to the streaming computer. And that streaming computer, that one gets the audio and video and sends it through OBS to restream to all of the platforms I use. Sven has a question. I don't know if that's chat. This is not going to be just for me. This is going to be for all of you. Sven has a question. The question is, who is the better producer of the 2000s? Neptunes or Just Blaze? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. And some of you might jump the gun and name one of the two real quick. Both of these, I mean, Neptunes is not a producer, of course, it's a producer team. Both of these have such an incredible catalog. Woo. And I'm really bad at the best or better. And I see a lot of people here jumping on the Just Blaze train right now. I'm exaggerating, 3 people or 4 people. Comparison wise, it's a little bit tough because the Neptunes have a wider range and do different type of music compared to Blaze. Wow. And Nevet says Timbaland is another one. Don't sleep on Timbo. Well, Timbo, that's King Timbo right there. I would say the Neptunes have a wider range. Like Just Blaze has amazing tracks, but then you look like Neptunes got so much fire as well, all over the place. I mean, from I don't know about that. Skillmonger. Skillmonger says Neptunes had more hits, and Blaze had more classics. I'm not sure if that's true though. I don't know. That's the thing. Like that's the cool thing also when you see like these versus battles, when you have to take a closer look and really think back to like, okay, what did they produce? And in this case, they got so much. So Blaze had a lot of classics. I don't know if Just Blaze has more classics than the Neptunes if we're talking about production. Neptunes go back a lot. Don't forget they even wrote and produced Rump Shaker for Rex and Effect, going way back. Damn. I don't know if I have an answer for this one, though, yo. I don't know if I have an answer for this one. Where I might actually lean more towards Neptunes, even though I know Blaze has so much as well. Like, so many hits. Ludacris, Southern Hospitality always gets me hype. Yeah. Can say the same thing for tracks like Super Thug. But for me, like when I think of Neptunes, you look at Grinding or What Happened to That Boy. One of my favorite beats to hear it. But then you got like Jay-Z, I Just Want to Love You. Then you got like Just like Snoop, beautiful. LL, love you better. They got those type of vibes in there as well, and way more, of course. These are just a couple. Whew. I don't know, man. And it's not like we can say like Neptunes is more commercial and Blaze is more hip hop. I don't know about that either, but damn. Yeah, man. So yeah, it's fronting, yeah. Oh. Yeah, I'm Neptunes. Neptunes. Even though I know so many just Blaze tracks that are like crazy. Hey, Vlad, Clips, when the last time? Lap dance. I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, you can name a lot of just Blaze tracks, but I think Neptunes have more. Not just more hits, but also if you think about classics, whoa. But we can do the same thing for just Blaze now and start naming tracks and be like, ooh, 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 ooh. I know. Okay, so back to the rest of the questions. As a DJ who plays often back-to-back, how do you maintain your health and well-being? Okay, so one thing, and that's tough for DJs sometimes, is sleep. Sleep is very important. Nutrition is important. And I'm not just talking about that you have to eat super clean and be super healthy, like be the most fit type of person. Make sure you're getting all your vitamins and everything in. So sleep and nutrition is super important. In my case, I would say like workouts are important as well. Like I need to work out my back to make sure I don't get like my back doesn't hurt. Like when I work out, I never have back issues. As soon as I lose the workouts a little bit, I start to feel my back a bit. So yeah, all of it: sleep, nutrition, and just staying a little bit fit. Darius says, how do you go about making your playlist for a gig? I don't. What I will do is make a selection. Sometimes, like for a lot of gigs, I have folders that have just a ton of music that I know I'm going to want to have with me, and I play freestyle. For my live streams, for instance, if I'm doing like a live stream and I might go through folders, or I go to Beat Source and I look for songs and run into songs that I feel like, hey, that would be dope to play. Then I add it to a folder. That's as far as it goes. So no track listing or anything like that. But it's always good to know what you have when you start to play. Loco Lopez, we're good in the chat. Indeed. And Blaze as hard as PSA? I don't know. I love the track, though. Indeed. I don't think that's the hardest Blaze for me. But that's the thing, and I hope everyone keeps that in mind. This can never be a discussion of this is the best or this is the hardest, because it's personal. Like Just Blaze is an incredible producer. The Neptunes are out of this world. So they both deliver quality, and they've delivered so much quality. So you can't say like, no, this is or that is. But yeah, a lot of hard tracks. Gio says, sometimes we have to get out of our head, just enjoy what we're doing. My most inventive routines came from freestyle sets when I just went for it and adjusted along the way instead of being perfect. 100%. 100%. Yeah, Vlad, of course. That's the thing. It's totally subjective. But I mean, I PSA, crazy track. What time is it, by the way? All right. We can go for a little bit longer. There's one thing I know I have to adjust in my stream ending screen, by the way. I know certified bangers are still in there. I have to take that out for a sec. Good DJ says, what platform do you use to get your music? I listen to a lot of music when I'm just listening on Spotify Tidal. And Beat Source is my main thing where I look at now as well. So I don't get a lot of new music. When I get new music, it's mostly when I'm downloading from DJ City. So that's the DJ pool I use. but I'm listening to the streaming platforms to hear songs. And if I hear them and they're not on DJ City yet, most likely I'm going to find them on BeatSource and just stream them. Do you have a method how to get in good sleep rhythm back after a long gig till the morning? Nah, it's rough. It's rough. It is rough. Like if you have a gig an all-nighter, you come home early in the morning, it's so easy to fall into that rhythm where you go to sleep then you wake up late, then you'll go to bed again real late, then you sleep in the day. Now, luckily for me, I'm forced back into a normal rhythm because I have kids. So when kids come into play, you don't have that luxury of saying, hey, I'm going to sleep all day. So that will pull me back to a normal rhythm. But that will most likely mean that I'll have like a day where I'm like a total zombie recovering. Have you tried Denon LC 6000? No, I haven't. I mean, I think it's a cool device if you have like an SC 5000 or 6000 and you want to get a second device to control a second layer. It's cool. I think they're pretty expensive if you're buying them just to be like controllers for Serato or something like that. But I haven't tried them out. No. David Green, have a good day. See you next time. And Mo Berry, yeah, same thing. I use the DJ Pool and BeatSource link. I mean, for me, that works perfectly fine. And then I can also use Tidal and SoundCloud if there's something else I'm looking for. Crandon wants to know, does having a press kit still matter in 2021 or content on Instagram is more than enough? I would always say make sure you have a press kit, or at least if you have like a website, even if it's like a one-pager that shows your information. Bad example here because my website is offline now, but when it comes back online, that's a place where you can always find my info. I think it's always good. Like Instagram is cool, stuff like that, content on Instagram, but Instagram does not always give you the information that you need straight away. You might see that you have a following or that you're a DJ, but being able to click on that website or that EPK so that it's really clear who you are, what you do, and links to audio, video, you name it, in one place. So I think, and it's easier than ever to just have like a one-pager up somewhere. And even if it's not like a website, even if you use something like Linktree that you have in your Instagram profile, link in bio or Linktree, so that if they click on it, they get one page, and on that page they have a link to a bio, to mixes, to videos, and whatever else you feel is important. Yeah, Queen Caesar, I heard that they used to be good for throwbacks, but I also heard that they don't have as much anymore. But I haven't been there in a long time. I was subscribed to them like 6, 7, 8 years ago, I think. But I haven't been there in a really long time. Jazz, appreciate the follow. And since it says NL, I have to assume that's Nederland. So more Dutchies in the building. So yeah, let me check because I do have to change the Stream Elements thing before I head out. Playing around with my new toy. Even though I wouldn't call it a toy. I mean, I got the Aether Mini Pro here, of course. But I finally have my Stream Deck. Got my Stream Deck XL. Still setting it up, though, so I don't have a lot in there right now. But, yeah, lovely having something that I could use to change scenes. I'm going to build all new scenes for all the streams. But just being able to have that in there, and I don't have to walk to the computer, being able to just do this and have it in and out, all of that. Love it. I was working on a second scene as well, but it's not really usable now. But I can just switch to it. Yeah, for all my Stream Deck users out there. Vest says if it ain't Dutch, it ain't much. Ah, oké dan. Jesslyn. Hey, beste DJ van Nederland. Dat is alweer een tijdje geleden. Was wel dope. Nevet says, is there anything I should keep in mind when taking my gear to college? I have the Odyssey DJ coffin on back order from Sweetwater, and I have a single room, so no worries about roomies. I don't know. It's dope that you're bringing it to college, but no, I don't know. Like you have the flight case for it, or that's coming, and you have your single room. So I mean, you should be good to go, right? So no, I don't know if there's anything in particular you should be looking at. So maybe we have people in the chat who also are in college or brought their DJ gear to college. So then they can drop that in the chat. Ja, Jazz, ik zit te denken, man. Welk jaar was het ook alweer? Beste DJ. Sorry for the Dutch chat. And Vlad says, the never-ending question, how to get proper DJ management. So, my question to you would be, why do you need DJ management? Drop that in the chat. Mulberry says, make sure you insure your equipment at college. So, yeah, insuring it is a good thing. I do also think it depends on what DJ gear are you bringing. Are we talking about an entire set, or are we talking about an entry-level controller? Like, if you're bringing a DJJ 400 to college, I mean, you could probably still insure it, but it's not like it's that much. If you're bringing, like, a proper DJ set, I mean, I don't even know how, that's the thing. I don't know how college works there. Like, if you have a room in college, can you get, like, just everything in the room insured the same way you can have, like, home insurance? Can you get that for a college dorm room? How does that work? Yo, SQ Squad, what's good? Salute to you. And Neves says, I doubt anyone listens to the college radio stations anymore, but it would be dope to give it a shot if possible. I don't know if that's true. Like, they're bumping into the tripod again. I'm going to fix that. That's something I have to get used to, that is right in front of me. But I don't know if that's true. People don't listen to college radio anymore. Like, I honestly have no idea if that's a thing still, but I don't know. It could still be. Le Moment Beats, I appreciate that. That's always great to hear. So thank you for letting me know. Okay, so never had 2 turntables, mixer, vinyl. Okay, yeah. So insurance could be a very good thing. And a lock on that case, indeed, but there's no trade money. Like, luckily, Nevad says no roommates. So that's a good thing. Like, that already makes everything a little bit more secure. Alab's in. What's good? The question is, in which language do you talk to yourself, and do you think when you talk to yourself? Dutch. Yeah. Dutch. Even though I have to say, like, English is in my system a lot. Not just for the streams, but also, like, most of the content I produce or when I post something, it is English. A lot of my communication with people I work with, like brands, is in English. But beyond that, like, my life is Dutch. Like, when I'm at home, we speak Dutch. Like when I talk to my colleagues here, we speak Dutch. And that's still the native tongue. So my mind will definitely be in Dutch mode for sure. I got into scratching a year ago. As an upcoming DJ in the scene, I'm unable to afford a turntable setup with a mixer. Thus, I'm unable to fall into the category of elite DJs and turntablists in India. Well, if you got into scratching a year ago, there's no way you should fall into the category of elite and DJs and turntablists in India. Or all turntablists in India started a year ago. But like a year ago is nothing. That's like a really short time. Now, if you want to become like a proper turntablist, a turntable setup is the way to go, for sure. I mean, you can learn how to do scratches on a controller, for sure. But like turntablism, turntables are the way to go. So Vlad, I think I'm still waiting for your answer about management. And Trey Money says, I did college radio for 4 years and a year after. Ended up managing the hip hop format. Dope. So do you know, is it like, is it currently still a thing? Are people still in college listening to a lot of college radio? That would be interesting to know. Costa Rica says, my mind was blown when I realized that 85% of the scratch sound is because of the fader. I totally had to change my mindset, and I learned that from your videos. Yeah, I mean, that is so true. Like, I feel it's important to start with that baby scratch because most of the movements you do will come out of that baby scratch. The back and forth movement, just doing it in a regular pattern or changing it up, slower forward, faster backwards, other way around, you name it. But a lot of the movements is still just the back and forth, slower, faster, you name it. But then you introduce all these type of fader movements, opening, closing, which then like broadens it so much. And a lot of times people, like, I understand that people don't think about that when they hear scratching. They're like, oh, scratching. This is what people think about when they hear scratching, like that, not this, until they get into it. And then it's like, oh, wait. And at first they don't have a clue. So when first timers scratch, they'll just randomly start to move this, not even knowing what it does. But when you get the hang of it, you're like, okay, a lot happens here. A lot, indeed. All right, DJ Toe still plays on WRPI, the Grown Man Rap Show. It's definitely a thing, but in my part of PA, it's not not in any of the big cities. Okay, got you. Right, Vlad, DJ/producer, artist management. More exposure as far as gigs and connections in the industry, as I find gigs hard to come by. Here's the thing, and I can't speak for everyone, but in a lot of cases, and I knew it's the case here, but I've seen and heard more people in other places talk about it as well. Unless you find management that is going to be really proactive and is going to be out there actively searching for gigs for you, management doesn't make sense unless you already have something really going on. Management is there to manage everything, but if you currently have no gigs, they have nothing to manage. If you're talking about like a booking agency, for instance, they don't need you on a roster if you don't already have gigs coming in. Booking agencies are not there to get DJs that have no gigs and give them gigs. Management is basically the same thing. So if you currently have no gigs, you don't need management. That is my opinion. I'm not all the way familiar with how it works everywhere, but it's not like if you get a manager, then they have the connections and exposure for you, because a manager is not going around with your name to try to get gigs. In most cases, like I said, maybe you can find someone who's a little bit newer in the industry, super hungry, wants to have like a roster of artists to represent, and is going to actively go out there to get gigs. But if that's not the case, like if you don't have gigs right now, a booking agency is also not something you need, because most booking agencies are not in it for that. They want DJs that have gigs, because then it's going to be easy for them to set you up, take care of business, and get their 10, 15, 20%, depending on which agency you're with. If you have no gigs, they don't see, if they see you have no gigs, they're going to be like, okay, if we put them on the roster, we're going to have to find gigs. That means more work for us. That's not what we do. So if you currently don't have gigs, you don't really need representation in that way. Unfortunately, I mean, in the beginning, I thought it would work that way as well. I even had a lot of my own gigs, and I had to like commit to a booking agency. So I went with the booking agency, and the deal was like, okay, you're going to do all my bookings. So I had to send people who normally come to me to the booking agent. A lot of them didn't like that at all. They were like, we've been dealing with each other for a long time. Now you're going to send me to a middleman. They didn't really like that. So it actually cost me bookings. And during that first time, most of the bookings that did come in came from people approaching me and me sending those people to the booker. So I would say like 75 to 85% of the bookings came from me. They got me some bookings, but that was also because they were starting up, so they were kind of actively doing stuff. If that's not the case, they would probably not have gotten me any bookings, but I was better off doing it myself. Now, if it would get to a point that you're getting calls every day, inbox is full, you're getting like so many requests that you don't want to deal with that, then having management, having a booking agent is the way to go, because then you're like, yo, I don't have time for this. I just want to know when and where, and then they take care of that because the bookings are coming in. But beyond that, I don't think it just makes a lot of sense to do it. Again, my opinion from what I've seen and from what I've heard. Fly DJ Eli, what's going on? When you had time with the DDJ 1000 SRT, did you happen to hook up turntables to it and use that internal mixer to test? No, but I can do that. I can do that. It's right there. So I can do that. I've never done that. Yep. So I can check that out for sure. How can I get gigs in foreign countries? I would like to travel and combine it with DJing. Yeah, same thing as the management question. That doesn't just happen. Most of the times when that happens for DJs, it's because they've built up a network. They've connected with a lot of people. So you have to start networking with DJs, for instance, in other countries. And a lot of times, if you can get DJs gigs in your country, maybe they can get you something there, or you have to know people who organize parties in countries so you can actually get them maybe to book you. You need connections. It's not like you can say, hey, I would like to travel. Let me get some gigs. I mean, that's the thing. Connections is what it's all about when it comes to that. So yeah, Vlad, I would say brand management, like you have to create your own brand and get something going. It can be annoying. I've had these conversations when I had like a booker, not the booking agency I just talked about. I tried bookers twice, and with the other booking agency, I thought it would be an okay thing to try out. It was already within the circle of people I was working with. They were also working with that agency. This was a new division within that agency, and they wanted to do DJs. So I was like, okay. They had a couple of DJs on the roster as well that were doing really well. So I thought it was good company to be in that same roster. But I could tell like the bookings weren't really coming in. And when I talked to the booker, the only answer I got was like, yeah, there's not really too much happening with you right now. So basically saying like, you have to create more of a buzz so that we get phone calls that people want to book you. So it was still going to be up to me to indeed build the brand, promote and market more, and get more bookings. And then you're like, okay, but if it's not a lot of calls and I'm going to let you do it, it's going to cost me that 15%. Because that's the thing. You do have to, the booker gets paid from every booking. But if there's not a lot of bookings coming in and they're only coming in because I'm doing the promo, then I can handle that myself. So I haven't had a booker in a long time. I'm not doing a crazy amount of gigs either. I would only consider something like that if I do a ton of bookings, or if I feel that I can start to get a lot of bookings in a certain scene that I'm not familiar with. So a scene that's out of my normal comfort zone, then I might want to get some representation. But only if I know like, hey, they really want you in that scene, maybe. David Castillo says, how do this get out of this pandemic funk and back to 4 bars? I know I can read the sentence again, and I think I still won't get it. Vlad, my pleasure. My pleasure. Eli, I'll try to keep that in mind with the SRT to hook that up. And yes, friend, we talked about that already. Like the connection thing. I mean, I personally haven't done a lot of gigs in foreign countries. I've done some, and in most cases that was due to connection. So for a while, I played a bunch of gigs in Sweden with another DJ. But that happened because a guy that used to live here in the Netherlands and that we knew, he moved to Sweden because he was half Swedish, I guess, and got into the scene there. And at a certain point, got into a position where he could like book DJs. So then a connect that I already had, or we already had, was there. And that led to bookings there. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. It's not like people in Sweden knew who we were here at that time. Sven, I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the stream. Like for the coming time, I'm not going to be doing plugging in or certified bangers. I'm just going to do the Monday and Wednesday stream because I just have way too much work to do here, work going on. And I just noticed that those extra streams were causing a lot of extra pressure, taking time away. A lot of times I was in the middle of work and then I would have to stop and set stuff up for a stream. I was like, I have to put that on hold for a second to get everything really. I'm getting there. Things are getting to where they need to be. Got a couple new things going on, new additions to the setup, lighting wise, setup wise. A lot of content I need to create. So the extra streams were kind of really getting in the way of that. So for the foreseeable future, it's just going to be the Monday and the Wednesday. Queen Caesar, participating? No, not really. I do have, like Brainpower, the artist I work with, is doing a release on Record Store Day. I'm not doing, I don't have anything going on. So, Sven, that being said, before I put my end screen in, I actually need to edit that in Stream Elements because right now the end screen still says that I have a certified bangers and plug it in. So I need to take that out before I start to use it again. So I probably just won't use it today. Eli, one more question. How do you effectively manage your time with this along being with a family man? As a father of twin girls, I just enjoy hearing how you may juggle your responsibilities as a father. I believe communication is the most important thing, like making sure you and your partner have a good communication going on, not just talking, but also like schedule wise. I have to fit in, like we have like times we have to deal with. Like the kids have their set times. They have their school. Sometimes like the oldest does everything on his own now, but the youngest one still needs to be brought to school, picked up. Some days, like today is a day that I can be in the studio basically all day because it's her day off. So I don't have to worry about the kids being picked up. She can take care of that. But for instance, tomorrow she's working. So I'm going to have to be at that school ready to pick one kid from school, pick him up. Communication is very important, and just planning. Like when kids come into play, you can't just be on some happy-go-lucky. Hey, I'm gonna do what I feel like doing. It's just that's just out of the picture. That just does not happen anymore. That used to be my thing. Like, hey, I'm gonna be in the studio all night. I can't just make that happen. Like on certain days, I could make that decision, but if I have to get up next morning to take kids to school, I know already. Like if I now do this, I'm gonna mess myself up. So I can't. So you're restricted, but then again, I still feel very blessed that I have the option to plan my own time. It's not like it's not like the 9 to 5 where I have to show up. I can work around certain things. So sometimes I come in early, sometimes I work later. But I feel you. Like I don't have twins, but we have two kids, and no spontaneous type of things. Everything has to be planned to the fullest. Let me see. Costa Rica, you got twins too? Okay, so we got two people with twins in here. Neved, for sure. I mean, the oldest when he was young, he used to play around with my equipment. Now he's into gaming and doing other stuff, but like he's really into music though. So I took him to one of the festivals I was playing at like 2 years ago. Last year we didn't have any, like a major festival, and he kind of lost his mind there. Got to see some of his favorite artists, so that was pretty cool. And my youngest is all the way into music, making beats and everything. So yeah, they know what I do, like what I do, and have varying degrees of interest in it. Like I was actually in the studio with my youngest last week, working on a beat because he actually wanted to be here to work on beats. So yeah. That must be Mixmaster G still. Let me see. Yep, Mixmaster G still in blue. That's that. Luckily, you're the only one, so I know it's you. Eddie, do you think the portablest fad will fade or get stronger? I'm not sure. It might be the algorithm on social for me on different platforms. I already see less of it than I did a year ago. But I don't know if that is actually the case. Now, it seemed like it was a hype for a second, even though it wasn't really. It was just a little bit more on social media. I think it's a tight little scene, and they'll probably continue to do what they do. But I don't see the same amount of content online from portabilists. Or brands that promote like modifications for it. I don't see as much either. But I find it hard to predict. Costa Rica, yes, portabilist. The DJs who use the portable turntables. The like turntablism, you have portablism. That's when you're using the portable turntables. Like the PTO on Scratch. Or like the Omni and a couple more. Stay. Bose Fuss, what up? Any tips for mixing in key? Tips? I mean, no, not really. I mean, analyze your music so you have the key info. That's going to be important. And I don't do a lot of mixing in key, but if I do, I would be mixing in key. So if one track has a key, I would find a track that has a corresponding key, or I believe the key right next to it will also still match. If you're using the Camelot wheel, that is. But I wouldn't be in a position to give actual tips because mixing in key is not something I focus on, even though I can with 100% certainty say, like, if you do have tracks that are in the same key, your mixes will sound better. That's just the thing. Like I know, like I've had it happen a lot of times when tracks are in the same key, you can just hear like the instruments will just blend better. So even if they're not in the same key, you can make great blends. But when they musically fit, even if it's a subtle thing, you can feel like, okay, now the melodies are really playing together. Like all of a sudden, like the synth in this track is actually being the perfect addition to the bass line and the other one, you name it. So it's a beautiful thing, but I never really focused on it. There's a young girl, DJ Michelle, who's amazing. I never thought I'd say many young people into turntablism nowadays. Her portablism video is awesome. Salute to DJ Michelle, by the way. Indeed. She's dope. You have a couple of the young ones out there doing really dope things. All right. We're about to call it a day, night, wherever you are in the world, morning. And I'll be back here on Monday. So that's it for the coming time. I'm streaming every Monday with a mix, and I'm streaming every Wednesday with this Share the Knowledge live right here. I actually never look back. Okay, Mixcloud is just dead today. No new comments there. Mixcloud is dead today. All good. Mixmaster G, salute. Sven, salute. Ves, Costa Rica. Eddie, everyone still in here. Neved, Rich, all the people in the chat. Salute to you. Okay, how many people do we have left on Twitch? I haven't checked. Let me quickly see what's going on there. Let's see if we have enough peeps to go raid someone and say hi. We got 28 on Twitch. Let me go check if there's someone we should be raiding right now. No, I don't think there's anything really happening. I actually don't have a lot of time to go check that out. We'll do a raid. During Monday's mix. I'm just gonna call it a day. Oh wait. Okay, Seanster DJ, mod for Mojax. Okay, we're gonna go with Mixmaster G. I'm all with it. Let me go fill that in. Seanster DJ. All right, hold up. Let me get that. Yes, friend. I'm not gonna put the end info in this time. Okay, so we're gonna go to Seanster DJ, and that's recommended by Mixmaster G. So I don't know what Seanster's playing right now. Is a mod for Mojax, so that alone I feel is enough to say give some support and check him out. My buddy Mojax. So in that case, we're gonna check it out. So it's house music. I know we got people in here who are into house music, so I mean that's perfectly fine with me. So Seanster DJ, a house odyssey, midweek house vibes. All right, let's go hook them up. For everyone in the chat, salute to all of you on all the other platforms. You can't join the raid, but hopefully I see everyone on Monday for crates. All right, let's go raid Seanster DJ.